Yeah.
You're live!
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Can people see us now?
This is really exciting.
This is super exciting. I'm going to go on my phone and see if I can see
Yeah, can we
us.
refresh
Yeah,
this and
sure.
figure out?
I can't see it at all. This is,
There we go.
Yes.
That's a really cute picture, you guys.
Hey, Joyce, can you see us?
Oh my
Yay.
goodness. I can see us. This is great.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Oh, this is amazing. Welcome to the Anamorphology Alternamorphs #1 live stream. I see the chat is already happening. I am so hyped for this. Should we tell people who we are?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, I mean, how should we do it? If only we had like a tradition of how we did this.
Yeah. I don't
Only.
Oh, well,
Let's do our
I
best.
guess I should just say that my name is Jenny.
And my name is Ted.
My name is Gray.
And
this
is
is Anamorphology
Live! We're so excited about doing
We're
this.
so excited.
Thanks for taking time out of your Saturdays, especially when it is so nice in the undisclosed location where we are.
Could be anywhere. No way
Yes,
knowing.
yeah, John, so that logo was created by...
We pointed out she is a professional, not a professional artist, but still, it was created by a
By a
professional.
professional something.
Yeah. Oh, yes, and we are wearing the shirts.
Yes.
Here, show people the shirts.
Wait, I'll stand up.
Yeah, show them the
In the
back of
middle.
the shirt
This is I'm dying. Take my MacGuffin. For those of you who can't read the tiny letters.
over the magnificent picture of Elfingor
Yes.
and our logo.
We're
You
very
guys-
cool, you guys.
Kevin, our guest on 25. Super great.
I don't know how you remember the numbers.
You know, I very obsessively reordered all of the books on my shelf many times in childhood, and I think it really sunk in.
So, what are we
There
doing?
are a lot of ways you can order books by color, number, alphabet. Anyway, speaking of books, we have a book with us today.
It's so shiny.
It is. It's beautiful. What book is it, Gray?
It's Alternamorphs, the first journey. It does have a subtext thing, and it is, you have been chosen. You are the 6th Animorph. Are you ready? I'm already annoyed. Becoming Axe. Why are they doing that?
They're very rude to Axe.
What makes this worse is that
terrible.
Axe is right there.
He's right
There are
there.
7
Yeah,
faces.
he's right there. It's possible they meant that Axe isn't an Animorph yet when
What?
this takes place.
But he's right there.
I know. Maybe
All right,
he's going
but
to be the 7th Animorph.
Great, you need to answer
Can
the
I-
question. Are you ready?
Are you?
Maybe.
You know what? I think you're not ready because I think you don't have the one extra tool that you need
Okay.
to
What
move forward with this.
what tool do I need?
You remember Jeremy, of course, our guest on episode 9 and Megamorphs 3.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So he couldn't join us today. He was very sad. But because he didn't want you to be deprived of his sage advice,
Sure.
he made you an assistant. Let me just get it properly set up here. I haven't used one of these in many, many years. Here is your assistant.
Yay.
You can hold it.
Thank you, Jeremy.
We called these cootie catchers when I was little. So apparently some people just call it fortune tellers, but
Yes.
cootie catchers is the real name.
Amazing. My options on the top are asterisk, viscer, health, and morph ? Which I'm not sure how useful any of those are going to be, but
And of course, if you need more help than this cootie catcher can provide,
Which I
we
don't know why
have
you
all of
would.
these wonderful viewers here that you can check in with.
hello, please help. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm very worried.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure the only outcomes in this book are good ones.
You're lying to me.
I would never
to my
do that.
face. Right to my face.
Can't believe you'd accuse me
Can
of
I
this.
read the back cover?
Yes,
Yeah,
let's
read
get
it
into
out
it.
loud.
Okay. We can't tell you who we are or where we live. It's too risky and we've got to be careful, really careful. So we don't trust anyone because if they find us, well, we just won't let them find us. The thing you should know is that everyone is in really big trouble. Yeah, even you. You're with us when we head through the abandoned construction site. You help us decide whether we really want to accept that this or 3 destroys Elfingor, but not all of your decisions are the right ones. You'll probably make mistakes. Just be careful not to expose yourself or the rest of us to the Yerks, because our secret can never be discovered. And now you are one of us. Can we trust you? Are you ready to be an Animorph? Do I get to start from the beginning?
I guess
We're about to
maybe you
find
do.
out.
This is so exciting.
All right.
We're going to make different choices.
This is
I hope-
really your dream.
I really hope the
Yeah,
first
it really
choice in the book is go home. Do not go to the construction site.
Why are you cutting through an abandoned construction site? You are children. Stop it.
So the way we were thinking this would work is Ted and I will trade off, and one of us will read to Gray what's happening in the book, and the other will stay in touch with you guys on the chat. And then once it gets to a decision, Gray will have to make a choice. You guys can help her out. So, but Gray is going to start reading. Gray is going to read the introduction.
I'm going to read the introduction, which starts, okay, listen up. It's Jake. You probably already know what's going on here, but just in case you don't, here's how Axe and I are 5 kids and 1 alien out to save the world. No, this isn't a joke. It's real. About as real as you can get. Real enough for screaming nightmares about the things you've seen and done. Accurate. Because sometimes the stuff you see in the movies, the stuff you thought could never ever happen to you, well, it can happen. It does happen. I've seen it. I can't tell you my last name or where I live. There's an alien invasion going on right here on Earth. But I'm not talking little green guys with ray guns. I'm talking a much smarter way to conquer a world. Just invade people's brains. Okay. I'm not nuts. I've seen it. And because of that, my friends and I were given a special power, the power to morph into any animal we touch, to acquire its DNA. And it's the only way we can fight the Yerks. That's what they call themselves. We have to find a way to stop these slugs that get into people's heads and make them slaves. But things have gotten worse. We need backup, a new Animorph. We've tried this once before and it didn't work out. Yeah, so a bit of an understatement there, buddy. At all. We're going to try again. Just remember not to read these missions like a normal book. Check out the instructions and follow them. All right. You get to choose your morphs, but I'm warning you now, choose them very carefully. Excuse you. You first. Choose them very carefully. Ridiculous.
I mean, it's just a lizard. Like, that's like the best morph you can think of, right?
Yes, and they have used that very often. You have to deal with the consequences. They can either help you or get you totally annihilated. This isn't a game. It's serious stuff. So if you can handle it, turn to page 1. Oh, one more thing. Good luck. You'll need it.
Ooh,
You won't need it. You'll be fine.
You'll be totally fine. Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready?
No, let's do it.
I would just like to say that when he said things have gotten worse and we need backup, a new Animorph, apparently he means we need a new one from the beginning.
Yes. I don't, it's fine. Whatever.
And you said they'd never use the time matrix. Okay. Chapter 1. You know you shouldn't be doing it. You were supposed to be home at least 20 minutes ago. It's getting dark. The smart thing, really, is to ride your bike along the bike path like a law-abiding citizen all the way home. But you don't. You're an off-road cycling freak.
That is not true.
So you head, this book knows you, I think it would know. So you head for the construction site across from the mall.
I do.
How many times have you been told not to do that? Like a million. It's dangerous, your mom says. Deep pits filled with water, cinder block obstacles, dips, and downhill runs. In other words, highly cool.
What?
Yes. Last Saturday, you chose a spot. Do you remember doing this, Gray? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, sure.
And yanked away the worst debris. You made this sort of single-track loop. It has a killer rolling dip and a log made out of cinder blocks that you can jump.
I 100% did not do that.
Yeah, no, you did. I saw you. I was watching. When you're on it, you pretend that you're racing in one of the mountain biking clubs. Your mom won't let you join because they're too dangerous for a 13-year-old, I guess.
Sure.
Too dangerous. Just wait, Mom. For you. Only I can never ever tell you or anyone else. Anyway, that night, there you are, going round and around the track, faster and faster. There's just barely enough light to see. Out of the corner of your eye, you see some dark forms moving. You stop your bike, a little nervous. You think it could be a band of homeless men who live here, but then you recognize kids from school, kids you know. Jake, Marco, Cassie, Rachel, and Tobias. You don't know them that well, except maybe Marco, your favorite. He sits next to you in science and makes jokes under his breath all during class. Thanks to him, you're barely breaking a C. Pray.
Marco.
You think about yelling, hey, but you don't want to scare them. And they look like such a group somehow. You didn't know they were all friends. You feel a little bit left out, even though they didn't see you. You aren't terribly swell at making friends.
That's because I am from the 20s.
It's tough to be from the 20s and the 90s. Maybe because you spend most of your time riding around and around a track. The group moves away, keeps circling the track, trying to get in some killer laps before dinner. You're rounding, it's before dinner? What? Okay. You're rounding the track for the last time, flying over the cinder block log when you see it, a light. It's moving fast, way faster than an airplane or helicopter. And you'd have to call the light blue, even though you don't think you've ever seen that shade of blue somehow.
What?
It's a blue that is almost white, and yet it registers as more blue than any blue you've ever seen.
What?
That doesn't make much sense.
No, it doesn't.
But neither does the light. You stand there, your mouth open like a fish, and watch it come closer. Can you demonstrate how you stand?
Like a fish?
Yes. Yes, there you go. That's it. You see that the light has a shape. It's like an egg with two stubby wings. The blue light is coming from a shaft at the end, like an egg has. And suddenly you get you get what it is. It's a UFO. You watch X-Files, it's because your head is standing on end.
I don't remember an egg-shaped ship. Was the
I guess it was like
Elfangor
roundish with the tail.
Because it had a
and the
tail.
wings. Yeah, well, I guess this is an egg with a tail.
Famously.
Instead of running away like a normal person, you run toward it. Note that it doesn't give you that choice. It just tells you
that.
You keep out of sight behind a tumble of masonry and cinder blocks. That's when you see Jake, Tobias, Marco, Cassie, and Rachel. Rachel's hair is standing straight out from her head, so at least you're not alone. Your heart pounds as the UFO lands. The kids huddle together. You can't hear them, but you know they're wondering what to do like you are. Then you hear Tobias's voice. Please come out. We won't hurt you. I know. The voice was in your head. You didn't hear it with your ears. So you just thought speaking to like everyone in the vicinity?
Yeah, he did
Okay.
a broadband.
Wow.
Okay.
Uncautious. Marco and Jake exchange glances. Tobias looks at Rachel. They all stare at each other wide-eyed. They heard if the voice will come out. Replies yes. He warns you not to be frightened. You peer through a crack in the half wall. A creature steps out of the ship. For a minute, you think of a ballet dancer. I just want us all to remember the cover of Visser right now.
Ballet dancer.
Sometimes they're very strong. Which is crazy because this creature has hooves, 4 of them, and blue fur, and 4 eyes, 2 of them on little horns that come out of his head. Would you like to demonstrate how those eyes move, Gray? Gray has a dance that she'd like to show you.
When Andalites are looking around, they look like this.
It's a beautiful dance. Thank you, Gray. A head with no mouth. No wonder the guy talks to your brain. Oh, and the tail. You can't keep your eyes off it. Or rather, the long stinger on the end of it that looks as though it could do some serious damage. Okay. Here's the funny thing. You're not that scared. Not really. First of all, there's a nice solid wall between you and the alien. And you're right, you hear in your head. What? Does he read your mind? Okay. So you can come out. You don't have to hide. You gaze around wildly. Gaze around wildly for us, Greg. Thank you. Yes, I'm talking to you, he says. And that part about not being scared, forget about it. Now you're terrified. Okay, so you might think that there would be a choice for whether to come out from behind the wall or not at the end of this chapter, but there's not. We're just going to chapter 2.
What kind of choose your
I don't know. I think they need to give us some more choose.
Yeah, I have a whole fortune teller. I
know. We have like people who are ready to help you.
All right, here we go.
Ugh.
Chapter 2.
Protagonist confirmed for having a crush on Elfangor.
You step out from behind the wall. Joy suggested that maybe the protagonist of this book is a person whose name is you. Whoa, Marco says. Another alien. Let the games begin. But his voice shakes a little, and you know he's scared too. You stand next to the others. The alien stumbles a bit. He's hurt. I am dying, he says.
Yeah.
Then he tells you about the Yerks, how they've invaded Earth by taking over humans, how their slug-like bodies invade people's brains. It all sounds crazy and terrifying. You're relieved to hear that the Andalites, which is what the creature calls himself, are fighting the Yerks. That means somebody else is taking care of it. You don't have to worry. Yes, you do. He is the last Andalite, he tells you. It may take a year before the rest of them return. By that time, the Yerks will have taken over the Earth and all its people. What? You blurt out. That's impossible. I have seen what they are capable of, the Andalite replies, and you turn stone cold at the way he says it. There is one thing he can do to help before he dies. The Andalite directs Jake to fetch a small blue box from his ship. Jake looks a little nervous, but he disappears inside, then reappears holding the box. The Andalite tells you that he can give you the power to morph into any animal you choose. You just have to touch the
Editing continues to be bad. Hooray.
You just have to touch the animal to require its DNA. You've got to be kidding, Marco says. You can't believe it either. It's way past wacky, way past unreal.
Seriously, what year is this?
Suddenly
No
you
longer
see
the
red
20s.
lights in the sky. Rachel sees them too. Yerks, the Andalite says. The hatred in his voice is like a living force. Sorry. Yerks! He calls the ships bug fighters. Hurry. You place your hand on the box next to the others. 6 hands, and then the Andalites. You feel a shockwave run from your fingers up your arm into your body. It doesn't hurt. It feels nice, like a warm buzz of comfort. But then a third ship appears alongside the red lights. It is larger, blacker than black. It is like a piece of a star in shape. Jake says it's like a medieval battle axe. Rolling out from its surface is a feeling that you can only describe as evil. You've never felt this before, but you know what it is. Go now, the Andalite warns. They cannot find you. And remember, you can only stay in Animal Morph for 2 hours, or you will be trapped in your morph forever. Now go! Visser 3 is with them in the blade ship. Run! Tobias stays behind for a moment, but the rest of you take off. You feel the urgency and the power of the Andalite's order. Suddenly, you see your hand glow. You realize that your hand is in the circle of white-hot light coming from the ship, a searchlight. You snatch your hand back out of the light and run. With a burst of strength, the 6 of you leap over the half wall. Your knees hit the ground hard, but you hardly feel the pain. Now the searchlight from the ship illuminates the dying Andalite. The bug fighters slowly descend. There is nothing you can do. Nothing. You watch as Visser 3 exits the black blade ship. You see the creatures, called Hork-Bajir, walking weapons with blades growing. They serve as hosts for the Yerks, and then the enormous, spidery taxons.
Spidery.
Evil creatures who willingly...
Spidery.
Honestly, that would be way worse. I'm glad they're not spidery. Evil creatures who willingly allowed the Yerks to take over their brains and horrible bodies. Fear grips you. You've never known fear like this. A Hork-Bajir comes close. So close you could toss a stone and hit it.
That's not that close.
How far can you throw a stone, Gray?
I mean,
Accurately.
yeah, well, all right, but like, pitcher's plate's a home base.
You hold your breath. You want to scream. You want to run. You have to get away. But you feel something warm seep in, like a curl of warm water swirling around you.
Oh, not that.
The Andalite has sent you courage.
I thought I wet my pants.
You need the courage because you have to watch him die.
Oh.
In a sneering voice, Visser 3 calls him Prince Elfangor. He morphs into a creature more horrible than the Taxons, taller, bigger, with teeth 3 feet long. Their point. The fight is horrible. Already dying, the prince fights bravely. You can see there's no hope for him, and there's no mercy in Visser 3. Cassie covers her eyes. Rachel stares straight ahead, her eyes blazing hatred. Visser 3 opens that deadly mouth with the teeth like steel spikes. Jake almost sprints to help, but you help Rachel pull him back. No one can help. At the very last moment, you turn away. You can't bear to see Prince Elfangor die. Not like that. But you hear it. You hear the scream in your head. It is more awful than anything you've ever heard. Tobias leans over and gags. The nearest Hork-Bajir turns at the sound. You see his eyes rake the darkness. You know he is listening. You don't know who springs up first, but suddenly you can't contain the terror any longer, and you all take off, running as fast as you ever knew you could run. Split up, Jake yells, and you veer away from the others. You know the construction site pretty well. The prince had said that Hork-Bajir don't see very well in the dark, so you hug the shadows. You can hear one of them behind you, his blades whistling through the air. Pull over a piece of rusted equipment. The Hork-Bajir is closer. He can't see you, but he can hear you. You stop. You press yourself flat against the wall behind you. A chunk of the wall falls off, and you catch it in your cupped palm. You break out into a sweat, imagining the sound it would have made had it hit the ground, how the Hork-Bajir would turn, how his blades would flash in the air before tearing you apart. Wait. It's a trick you've seen a million times in movies and on TV. Would he fall for it?
Oh.
Then again, do Hork-Bajir watch TV?
Didn't we already establish you have a weak throwing arm? Come
You
on.
grasp the stone in your fist. With your best effort, you draw back and fire the thing like a fastball, way off to the right. You hear the soft clunk as it falls. The Hork-Bajir whips his horned head around and takes off after the sound, bounding like a
Good
kangaroo.
job. A kangaroo.
You run in the opposite
Okay.
direction. Your lungs are on fire, but you keep going. You vault over cinder blocks and debris. You swing over half-built walls. You get to your mountain bike, really fly. End of chapter. No choice.
Okay, so
Okay,
I
can
think
my
we should
choice
check
be
in. Yeah.
Get a tetanus shot? Because
Chapter 3. You wake up the next morning, go to the doctor, get a tetanus shot, and then return for the rest of this
right,
chapter.
good.
I do want
Just
to check
checking.
in. Is there anything you would have done differently before this?
I mean, this whole take your bike home on the well-lit bike path versus go ride it in circles around an
But you
you're
have to
an
imagine,
enthusiast.
yeah, you're an off-road cycling freak.
That's right.
All right. So
I think
so
you
far,
do get a choice at the end of this chapter.
Okay, great.
All right. Chapter 3. You wake up the next morning feeling groggy. It was a dream, of course. A totally freaky dream that felt totally real. The worst nightmare you ever had. If you told your mom about it, she'd probably suggest counseling, which would be a good idea.
Yes.
You can hear the
Accurate.
vacuum going outside your door and you feel better. Vacuuming is so normal. How can people go on vacuuming when horrible aliens? You peek outside the door. Your mom is vacuuming. And your little sister runs out in a pink dress. Wow, it's just like, let's make the women really, traditionally
Vacuuming
feminine.
pink
Vacuuming
dress.
pink dress. Okay. How's this, Lexi asks. Fine, Mom says without even looking. Oh, you remember that Lexi's birthday party is that day. That reassures you too. Yesterday, a 6-year-old's birthday party would have been lame. Today, you think it's just about the coolest thing in the world because it's normal. Your mom sees you. Can you keep an eye on things here, she asks. I have to go to the store and pick up the cake. You're picking up the cake, you ask? Your mom never buys a store-bought cake for birthdays. She's a city planner and works constantly, but she also has this thing about home-baked cakes. Because she's a woman who does it all. Emily is coming over to help. And after the party, we're going to a meeting tonight.
Oh, no.
Mom tells you, can
no.
you babysit? Sure, you say on the way to the kitchen. Babysitting beats dodging aliens, you think. Not that you dodged an alien with killing Arissa last night. No way, it was a dream. You chomp away on cereal.
What kind of cereal?
Is it? What cereal is it? It's Wheaties, obviously. Okay. You chomp away on Wheaties, totally says in the book.
Uh-huh.
But it tastes like sawdust.
No, it
That's
is
a lie.
Wheaties, yeah.
No. You keep hearing Prince Elfinger's dying scream. You remember those dagger teeth and what they did to him. The spoon clatters in the bowl as your stomach heaves. You bend over, your face buried in your knees, and take a deep breath. That's when Marco walks into your kitchen.
Always the
Really?
first time.
Really, you don't have to bow, he says. A simple Lord Marco will do.
Shut up, Marco.
I love Marco.
This is very Marco.
Very funny, you say. I felt kind of dizzy for a minute. Marco slings one leg over a kitchen chair. I'm sorry, didn't we establish in 22 that he doesn't do that? Only David when he's in Marco's body.
Also, how
That's
short
true.
is that kitchen chair?
I think over the seat, not over the back.
okay.
It isn't every day you see an alien prince turned into McFood, he says. So it wasn't a
90s
bad... Only that, it gets worse, Marco tells you. While you've been snoring, we've been morphing.
What?
What time is it? Okay. You stare at him. No way. Way, he says, tossing his longish hair behind his shoulder.
What?
I have been designated by our fearless leader, Jake, to recruit you.
Okay, a lot happened.
A
this
lot
morning.
happened. How late did you sleep? Okay, teenagers.
I tell you.
So far today, Tobias has turned into a cat, Jake into the family dog, and Cassie into a truly awesome horse.
Okay, I remember those.
That's kind of nice. I don't believe you, you say. Yeah, I didn't want to believe it either, Marco says, shrugging. Considering that I'd like to remain alive long enough to get into an R-rated movie. But apparently everything that Prince Alpha Diddle told us is true.
What?
Marco.
Yeah, that's kind of rude.
He just died.
Yeah.
He got eaten.
Which means, like McFood, Marco already said. Get it together, Marco. Which means we're all in big trouble. You mean there might be controllers around? You whisper. Yeah. Closer than you think, Marco says, reaching for a banana like Jake's brother. Okay, didn't they find out about Jake's brother like in the afternoon? Did you sleep until 5? Okay.
Yeah, there's a party that afternoon. What's happening?
When I told Jake I thought Tom was a controller, he went postal. I have the jaw to prove it. Marco rubbed his chin.
I do not remember Jake punching Marco.
I think that might have happened. I don't remember exactly.
Are you going to let Marco have that banana?
I mean, he's about to turn into a monkey, so sure.
He needs it more than you do. But it's the little things you notice. Tom just hasn't been acting like Tom. And he goes to this meeting called The Sharing. It sounds totally bogus, but we're all going tonight. Jake says you should come too. At least it'll get me out of babysitting, you say.
How is that going to get
I'm
you
not
out
sure
of
how. You still have to
babysitting?
babysit. Yeah. Marco peels the banana and begins to eat. Wow, he didn't even ask. Suddenly, he bends his knees and lopes around the kitchen, making monkey noises. You stare
You
at
called
him.
it. Amazing.
Just kidding, he says, grinning. I don't have a monkey morph yet. Just follow your toes. Okay. Marco leaves, and you start thinking about what he said about controllers. If Jake's brother, Tom, could be one, so could someone in your family. What about Mom? She bought a cake for your sister's birthday. Sure, it wouldn't sound like a big deal to most people, but you know how weird it is. She hardly noticed Lexi's party dress. Plus, didn't she say something about going to a meeting?
Oh, no.
What if Mom is a controller? And if she is, how can you find out?
Okay.
You decide to try your first morph and attend your sister's birthday party undercover.
This is a stupid idea.
But you could attend it as yourself.
Right.
Okay. You have 3 choices.
Okay.
Okay, you choose.
Here we go.
A fly,
No.
your sister's pet hamster,
Also no.
or your weird next door neighbor's pet ferret.
Wow.
Okay, people.
Let's
Greg
review.
needs
Let's
some
review our
help.
choices.
Yeah.
Fly, hamster, ferret.
Yes, those are your only choices.
These are terrible choices.
Yes. I'm going to put a post-it for this page in case we want to go back to decision.
I mean,
Now,
I have
remember-
no
I
idea.
never would.
If you want, I can tell you what
Oh,
the,
what,
the viewers
Tell me
what their
what
input
our,
is.
what our friends are saying.
Looks like we have a vote for ferret from Savvy42, a vote for fly from Joyce.
Bee Fruit also says.
Ella says, "Who wouldn't want to be a ferret?" John says, "Fly."
No one likes the hamster.
Polargeist
Good
says,
call.
"Ferrets."
Okay.
Aaron says, "Start with the option that involves trespassing and possibly breaking and
I
entering."
think that's the ferret. Yeah.
Okay. When you put it like that.
Joy says that you can trust her because she knows what the results of the choices are.
Claire wants to know if the ferret is invited to the party.
Yeah, how is that going to be more undercover than just being there as the
Katie says,
attendee?
"Absolutely ferret."
All right.
Does Lexi like the ferret? That's the real question.
You're not. Why are you going to the birthday party as the anything but
Unfortunately,
you?
not morphing is not one of your options.
All right, let's go.
It's not
ferret.
called Alternamorph. Okay. All right, you're going to ignore Joy's advice.
I
Okay.
am. I'm sorry, Joy and John.
25.
I'm pretty sure the fly is going to get me squished a lot sooner than anything else. Okay.
All right. Chapter 6.
Okay.
You've always liked ferrets, and it's pretty cool being one. You can't see very well, but your hearing is quite excellent, and you feel so happy, playful as a kitten, but friendly like a dog.
Wait, did you already acquire the ferret?
Apparently.
You leap up on an
Okay.
ottoman, twinkle across the back of a sofa.
Twinkle.
Being a
Twinkle.
ferret is fun. It wasn't hard to get the morph. You waited until Ms. Humphreys went next door to complain. She left the back door open, and it was easy to slip inside and pick up one of the sleek, furry creatures.
Oh, jeez.
It happily curled up next to your chest while you acquired its DNA. You shrank rapidly, your body turning sleek and supple. You grew and tiny claws.
Why are we writing this all in past tense? Why don't we just see you do it?
As soon as you
It's
morphed,
weird.
you wanted to
Yeah.
play with the 3 other pet ferrets. They were confused to see you, but they
Sure.
came over to sniff you, then chased you around the room. The back door slams. Miss Humphreys stumps back in, a ferret draped across her chest. She looks at the ice cream
Love
cake
her.
in her hand and shrugs. She dumps it into the kitchen trash can.
Oh.
Empty calories, she mutters. Not necessary.
How dare.
Is that a controller thing to say? Or is the ferret lady even weirder than you thought? Everybody likes ice cream cake.
Exactly.
You curl up under the sofa so that she won't notice she has one extra ferret.
Yeah.
But she doesn't pay attention to her pets anyway. Another ferret brushes against her legs. She doesn't pick it up, doesn't coo at it, doesn't stroke it. Weird or standard operating procedure. The phone rings. Miss Humphreys snatches it up. Yes? A pause. Yes, I'll be there. No, I won't. Sound irritable. No more than usual. This host is apparently an eccentric. This host. She's a controller. You
Yeah.
shrink back under the sofa. You hear a creak above you as she sits. You see her feet in thick-soled loafers. She doesn't move. And doesn't move. What time is it? How long have you been in the morph? You only have 2 hours. You watch as a shadow moves slowly across the floor. How can you get out of the house without her noticing you?
Okay, this was a dumb decision.
The shadow touches the toe of her shoe, and she gets up. Time, she mutters. She stumps around the room, and you creep forward to watch. She slips into her coat, picks up a nearby canvas tote bag. She starts for the door and opens it. You can sneak out. You dart forward, but she suddenly spins around. Ferret lady, she murmurs, travels with a pet all the time. And before you can move or react, she reaches down and sweeps you up in one hand.
Wait,
She
what are you under the sofa?
pops you into the
Yes,
tote
we-
bag.
Oh, okay.
She zips it partly shut. You are trapped, and the clock is ticking.
All right, this is a dumb decision.
Yeah.
Ms. Humphreys tosses the tote bag in the front seat of the car. You hit your head on the door handle. The car jerks forward. You try to work the zipper with your paws. No go. How long do you have left? You can just barely see the car clock. 20 minutes. Too close for comfort. The car stops. Ms. Humphreys slings you over her shoulder. You poke your nose out. You're in the beach parking lot. She's going to the sharing meeting. At least the rest of the Animorphs will be there. Ms. Humphreys plops the bag down on the sand. She trudges off to speak to a knot of people by the volleyball net.
Get out.
10 minutes left. You wiggle your nose through the opening,
How do you know that?
thrashing your head to widen the gap. The zipper gives a bit. Not much. Not enough. You hear Cassie's voice nearby, and then you remember that you can use thought speak. Do you want to read your line?
Cassie, it's me. I'm in ferret morph.
What? You hear Cassie say. I didn't say anything, someone replies. You realize that Cassie can't thought look suspicious. Cassie, I'm in a tote bag lying on the sand. I can't get out. My morph time is up. I think I'm near the volleyball net. Help. You hear the scrunch of the sand. You see bare brown toes. Cassie's concerned face suddenly looms in your vision. Is that you? She whispers. It's me, hurry. Cassie unzips the tote and casually tucks you under her arm. She strolls up toward the dunes. Almost there, she murmurs. She climbs over the dunes and sets you down. She looks around. Okay, hurry. You don't need her to tell you. You concentrate, and you feel your legs getting longer. The fur on your skin grows patchy. Your ears grow rounder. Your tail shrinks. Cassie wrinkles her nose. Ew, that's the worst morph I've seen so far.
Okay, 1, just wait. And 2, I'm now naked.
Sorry to disappoint you, you say, glad to feel that you have a mouth. I haven't had much practice.
I'm sure you're standing there naked. You're not disappointing her.
Rachel appears over the dune.
It's a party.
Hurry up, guys, she says in a low tone. Jake. Dogs and
Is Rachel
cats
gonna say
and
her name?
ferrets, you say, suddenly feeling hopeless. What a bunch of phoebe morphs. How are we going to fight this or three
I'm
with
sorry,
those?
What morphs?
Dogs and cats and ferrets, you say, suddenly feeling hopeless. What a bunch of phoebe morphs.
What?
How are we going to fight Visser 3 with those?
Was that slang in the 90s?
Something fierce flashes in Rachel's eyes. You glimpse something you've never before seen in pretty popular Rachel.
I mean, it was swell.
The girl is a warrior. You're naked, Rachel says. No, that's not what she says. You've got a point, Rachel says.
She should have said that. Okay. All right. So we didn't get a choice
Oh
at this
my
point.
God.
Yeah. Okay. I would just like to share. So there's been some speculation on the chat that like, wouldn't a controller eat the ice cream cake because, you know, human experience. That was Claire's suggestion. And then John said it was oatmeal ice cream cake. Can't be eaten. Canon. Okay. And then there were lots of thoughts about Phoebe, which is, you know,
A
word maybe.
ridiculous word.
Okay, chapter 7, apparently. Things happened way fast after the meeting at the beach. Too fast. Jake morphs into a lizard. This is too fast. Jake morphs into a lizard and spies on Mr. Chapman, the assistant principal. He finds out that one of the entrances to the Yerk pool is in your very own school. Every Yerk has to visit the pool every 3 days in order to soak up Kandrona rays. When Jake fills you in, I guess you're hanging out with them now or something. You can't believe it. The whole thing sounds nuts to you. But since your life has suddenly turned crazy, every word rings true. Rachel has taken your complaint about Phoebe morphs and run with it. The plan is to collect wild creature morphs at the gardens. Since Cassie's mother works there, you can get behind the scenes and try to acquire some truly fierce DNA.
Excellent.
That is, if you don't get caught. You meet up with all the others at the gardens. Okay, Cassie says, after you get your admission tickets, just stay close. You follow her into the main rainforest with animals in the natural habitats. Cassie leads you through an unmarked door. You stop, confused. Suddenly, you're in Industrial City. That is
What?
capitalized, by the way. Gray walls, concrete floor. After the sights and sounds of the rainforest, the contrast makes you dizzy.
Oh, is it like behind the scenes?
Yes,
of it?
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. This does not
Cassie
make
points to the doorways. These lead to the exhibits, she explains. You nod, but you can't quite imagine opening one and popping in to say hello to a tiger or a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Smart, yeah. How do you guys feel about gorillas, Cassie asks. You think she's kidding, but she hands Marco an apple, and before you know it, he's actually touched this huge gorilla called Big Jim. He acquires his DNA. Why don't they call Marco Big Jim
I
more
know!
often when he's in this more?
I am 100% going to start doing that.
This gives you all courage somehow, because gorillas are the same as tigers. One of you came close to a wild creature and survived. I say we head for the big exhibits, Marco says. We need firepower. You start to head toward the big creatures, but you hear a whirring security guard.
In the behind-the-scenes industrial city of the zoo?
Yes.
Okay.
Split up, Cassie hisses. She takes off with
Don't
Tobias
split
and
up.
Rachel. Jake and Marco are already running. You would think you would get a choice, but you don't.
What do I do instead?
You spin around and run back the way you came. I guess you're alone. Okay. You hear the golf cart behind you, and you fake left and go right. The corridors are amazing.
right.
That was really tricky for the person in the golf cart.
They're like, oh, they went right. Okay. The corridors are a maze, but this helps you. Before too long, you've lost the guard. Now what? You wish Cassie were here to tell you what's behind the doors. You open one cautiously.
That is such a... What if it's a... Why would you open the door? Just get out.
You know, for a choose your own adventure book, it's really making you make a lot of bad decisions. I'm sorry, Gray. Okay.
I don't even get to make the bad decisions.
At first, it's true. It's true. You does. At first, all you see are treetops.
You did as an idiot.
The door opens out on leaves. It is high above the habitat of the animal, whatever that animal is. You peer down. Something moves at your level, and you jump back in alarm. A giraffe is almost eye level with you.
Useless. I don't want that.
It turns velvety brown eyes at you and blinks long eyelashes.
Beautiful. Useless. I don't want that.
Hey there, you say softly. You shake the tree branch a little. Somewhere you've read that giraffes feed on treetops. Not that it's obvious or anything by the length of their neck. You don't think they attack humans, you hope. The giraffe takes a delicate step toward you. It passes by you, so close you can smell the dusky fur. You put out a tentative hand and touch its flank.
No, I don't. It's a giraffe.
The giraffe stops moving. So this is it. This is the trance.
You've already done
I know,
this.
you've already done this with a ferret. Also, it doesn't even say you tried. Okay. So strange that you can put such a large, strong creature to sleep. You close your eyes and concentrate. When you're... Thanks, you say. You slip back inside the corridor. That encounter went so well that it gives you confidence.
No, no, it doesn't. I'm not that dumb.
You is. You continue down a sloping ramp. When you come to the next door, you open it and slip inside. You're in a savanna. Dry trees, sand, hot, but a dry heat. You don't see the animal at first. You hear it. Okay. I don't know what the sound is going to sound like because I'm not sure what animal it is, but I'm going to give it a shot.
It's a frog.
I don't think it's a frog. The cry raises the hair on the back of your neck.
Okay,
It is close to human. I mean, was that close to human?
No.
Okay. The animal is...
Oh, wait. It's
All right, yeah, you want to guess?
It's a hyena.
Oh, okay. The animal is wavering on long front legs. The fur is sandy colored and coarse. You don't think you've... She should be down by now. I don't know, long front legs. A voice says, quickly, you crouch down behind some food bins as the door opens. 2 white-jacketed workers come in. Takes a few minutes, the other one says. We better wait till she's completely out. Are you kidding? I wouldn't go near a hyena otherwise.
Yay.
Good job. The other man says. He peers into the enclosure. She's down. Okay, that's totally cheating. There was a tranquilized hyena. Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, let's go. The vet's waiting. Oh, darn, I left the stretcher by the elevator. Well,
What?
I'm not staying here alone.
What's wrong with this
The
poor
2
hyena?
workers exit. You creep toward the sleeping hyena. Just as you approach, it opens one eye. It looks deadly, like a shark's, as if your only worth is for food. What a weird sentence. It's too late to run back now. Instead, you gather your courage and brush your hand along the creature's side.
This is a good morph.
The eye closes.
Hyenas are terrifying.
Your touch, combined with the tranquilizer, and the eye pass out. You concentrate. Why do you always concentrate after the trance starts? This is weird. As soon as you're done, you run away fast.
Mm-hmm.
When you close the door behind you, the white-jacketed workers are heading towards you with a stretcher. Hey, one of them calls. Stop, the other one says. They toss aside the stretcher. They start to run toward you. You could wait and think of a story, but it seems easier just to run. Why does it not give you the choice between those options? There's no choice on this page.
This is
our Leave It Alternamorphs. It's just morphs. Okay.
We're just reading to you a story.
You do get a choice in 3 pages.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's okay.
Chapter 8. You sprint around a corner, straight into a security guard. Whoa, he says. 2 strong hands grip your arms. Where are you going? The workers come up behind you. They're both out of breath. Tried to break in to the hyena habitat, one of them says, gasping. The grip tightens. So what's your name, kid? You think about telling the truth. Well, not the whole truth, but at least saying that you know Cassie's mom. The only trouble is that might get Cassie in trouble, and it could bring too much attention to the others, so you say nothing. He frowns. We got reports of vandals in the park. Come along with me.
Yeah, fair enough.
He marches you down the corridor into a small waiting room. There are 2 policemen there. Great, just what you need. I know you were called about a disturbance by the snack bar, the security guard says, but no name here was caught sneaking into the animal habitats.
Your name is you. Come on.
Yeah.
The taller policeman sighs. Obviously, he doesn't want the burden of some kid.
Sure.
Let's move, he says. They keep you between them as they march you outside to a loading area behind the snack bar. A police van is parked there. On the side of the van are the words Canine Unit.
Okay.
Strange thing for a kid to be sneaking into animal cages, one of the policemen says.
Oh, no.
They aren't cages, the other one says. They're habitats. Whatever. Sit here. The taller policeman puts a hand on your shoulder and shoves you down. Princey and Gail won't take it too kindly. 2 German shepherds bound out of the police van and sit in front of you. One of the dogs bares its teeth.
Okay, that's not what canine units are for.
They're for guarding teeth.
Stay, the policeman says, and moves off to go talk on the van radio. You've got to get away. In just a few hours, you're supposed to meet the others at school to invade the Yerk pool. Your only choice.
That's the reason you've got to get
Your
away.
only choice is a morph.
No, it's not.
But what's the best way to get away from the cops? You have to make a choice fast while their backs are turned. You choose a hyena,
Okay.
a canine police dog, a giraffe.
Are all the choices what do you morph? Is that the only kind of choice here?
I think it might be.
Okay, we've got 1 morph hyena, 1 giraffe. Joyce says hyena. We ignored Joyce last time. How did you think the ferret went?
I mean, I think if I had chosen a fly, I would have gotten squished. So I haven't died yet. I'm feeling healthy.
Doggos, giraffe, police dog, giraffe.
Police dog blends in.
Yeah. A giraffe does not blend in. And also, what are you going to do in a giraffe? Like,
Timberwolf,
where are you going to go?
Timberwolf, biased person, by the way. Suggests furless maneuver the doggo.
Shockingly, Lauren says the dog.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with the dog. Like, it's a new. I get to.
Joyce says the hyena is a delight.
I think a hyena is a very good battle morph. But I don't think that I necessarily want to battle. I think I want to get out of there.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with something that blends in.
All right.
This would be a great time to morph into a fly.
Yeah.
Sadly, I don't have that morph. So.
Right.
They didn't give you fly or ferret or hamster because I guess you would get
I picked
to
one.
this path
Right.
for whichever one you picked.
Okay, doggo.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Good pupper.
You
Don't
reach
be a
out
dork.
and touch the canine. Dog closes his eyes. You concentrate. Again, weird order. The police have their backs to you. It's now or never. There's that strange sensation again of bones crunching.
Ugh.
Things growing that shouldn't be growing. You touch your ears and feel fur.
I'm sorry. So the plan right now is sitting on a bench in the middle of the zoo, surrounded
Wearing
by
clothing
people.
that you can't morph.
Wearing clothing that you can't morph. You're going to morph into a dog, and I'm going to morph into a dog and run away.
Yes, definitely the plan is not acquire the canine units so that they're sleepy and then run away.
And then
while
run
they're
away while they're
distracted.
okay.
No,
because
that's not
that is
the
what
choice.
I thought. Okay.
No.
We're just checking. Just want to make sure I know where we are.
So you touch your ears, you feel the fur.
Uh-huh.
You suddenly drop down on all fours and notice that you have paws instead of hands and feet. And the smell. You smell everything.
Okay.
Food, people, animals. It's overwhelming at first. The other dogs cock their heads and look at you curiously.
Sure.
The one called Princey smells you and howls. After all, she's smelling herself. That is completely differently from how The two policemen look over. Hey, Seidel, the taller one says. Thought you only brought 2 dogs. Must have loaded a third. Hey, the kid is missing. And this dog is wearing clothing. It doesn't say that part. They rush over. You stand alert, tail twitching like the other dogs. You're not just a dog. You're a cop. You have discipline.
Dude, poor coppers.
It's a good morph, you tell yourself. In a minute, they'll give up on a harmless kid who stuck a toe in the wrong habitat. Big deal. It's not like you're a big bad criminal. They'll load you in the van, take you back to the station, and you can take off from there. How are you going to take off from there? You're a dog. Okay. This isn't good, Finley, Seidel says. We're supposed to be on alert, Finley answers, frowning, especially for kids. Especially for kids? Wait, here's a shoe. One of them has spied your sneaker. Should have been obvious. The dogs can track the kid. He holds the sneaker under your nose. Scent roars in. Dogs smell, then strain at the leashes. We'll keep the one offline. See what happens. Finley says, okay.
What plan is this?
Yeah. The 2 dogs take off and you follow, your nose to the ground, then in the air. Incredible. You can smell yourself.
Run in another direction and then morph back.
You're a cop. You have discipline. You can follow the air currents, know where you walked and stopped. The dogs follow your trail to the admission booth. They circle and you do too. Of course, you know which way you went. You go in the opposite direction, but the other 2 take off down the sidewalk. Darn. I mean, you're not following your own trail. You're following your reverse trail, right?
Plan here.
There is no plan here.
Okay.
You bound up behind them while the 2 cops hold the 2 leashes. Why didn't you walk on the sidewalk? That would have confused the scent. Instead, you had stuck to the grassy part near the curb.
What?
The dog can smell your trail easily. They've picked it up, Seidel says. He sounds relieved. More relieved than he should sound, since he's only tracking a kid. Said one of the kids infiltrated the ship, says.
I thought he was there, and I was like, what the? Okay, no. I see. I'm with you.
The policemen are controllers. Who could have seen this coming? And they'll follow your scent straight to your house, to your family. Did you walk here?
Wait, what?
Okay.
Question.
Yes. What is your question?
Okay, 1, they definitely had to take a bus to get to the sharing.
Yes.
2,
Or to get to the gardens.
Yes.
Yeah.
2, is the plan just find kids who are acting a little weird in this town that doesn't have that much to do, and then like find out if they're the ones who are do they see the kids who are at the sharing?
Oh, well, they knew there were kids at the construction site.
Okay, but okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I reported that kid who was hanging around the dunes, Seidel answers. The others are going to pick her up. It won't be long before she's one of us. Oh, this is like the backstory.
Oh, no.
Yep. Cassie, she was the one who'd hung out in the dunes watching over Jake and his dog morph. Cassie was in danger.
Rachel
You
was
have to
there
warn
too.
her.
Yes, good idea.
The other dogs lose your scent. You almost lose it yourself. You're in a more trafficked area of town now, near the Civic Center that we've totally heard of before. Earlier, you had stopped at the center garage to leave a note on your mom's car. You said you'd be late for dinner, even later than you thought. You hurry past the garage, but the other dogs suddenly pick up your scent. They race into the garage. The cops follow, running after them. This isn't good, Seidel says in a low voice. You pick up his words easily with your dog hearing. Officer 3 won't like it, Finley says in a worried tone. So we won't tell him.
Yeah, there we go.
The dogs lose the scent amid the oil stains and gasoline. They circle around, confused. But any minute they could find your mom's car. The note you left still might be tucked under the windshield wiper. It wouldn't take the cops long to figure out who you are. This is your only chance. You leap forward, barking as if you've picked up the scent. You charge out of the garage. The other dogs follow. You know that you can't lead them completely astray. So you follow the route back to your neighborhood.
Go
Right, I think you're making bad decisions here, I have to say. You run flat out now, so that the others have trouble keeping up with you.
Why are you hauling?
But you haul so that the others have trouble keeping up with you. But you make sure they keep you in sight. You get to the ferret lady's house and bark furiously outside. You circle the house and find the pet door. You nose it open and bound inside. Well, You live next door. What are you doing?
Go back to the zoo.
They could use Nathaniel giving them instructions here. Crazy ex-girlfriend reference. Moving on.
Okay.
The cops catch up and pound on the door. The ferret lady answers it. But already you've caused a commotion. The ferrets are running crazily over the furniture. The cat is hissing and
She's
spitting.
a cat and ferret.
The other dogs add to the chaos. What is it? The ferret lady shouts over the din. We're chasing a kid. The cops try to describe you. Sounds like every kid in the neighborhood. The ferret lady sniffs. I don't care if Visser 3 himself asks me. I'll say the same. So good. You've confused them. Under cover of chaos, you sneak out the pet door again. You bound next door. You remember leaving a sweatshirt outside after gardening chores this morning. When did you do Oh, that was a different day. Okay. You grab it in your mouth and race off. You take that sweatshirt all over the neighborhood, rubbing it against trees and sidewalks and grass. Oh, if you just hadn't taken the dogs to your neighborhood, you could have avoided this. Soon you see the cops and the canine dogs again. The dogs are barking, running from place to place while the cops strain to hold on to the leashes. You keep hidden and watch the cops get thoroughly confused. They give up and you trot back home. Time is almost up. You morph back into human form in your garage. You hurry inside, naked, to call Cassie. It doesn't say naked. But everyone has left already. You rush to the school now. You could blow your cover.
Huh.
I don't know.
Okay.
There's got to be another way.
Good point.
This could be where they give you a choice, but instead, his choices. Good morph choice.
Yay!
You deserve to proceed.
Good job,
Turn to
everybody.
page
Thank you very much.
51.
Chapter 12. It's getting late, and you're freaked. Cassie is in danger. Should you head over to school to try to hook up with the others? You can't stay here while the other Animorphs put their lives on the line. There's a suspicion that's been nagging at you. During the chase, the policemen looked very nervous at the parking garage. They muttered about Visser 3. What if something strange is going on there?
What?
It's only a little bit out of your way, so you decide to investigate the garage before heading to school. The garage is used during the day for city government workers. Right now, it's pretty deserted except for a security guard. You duck behind a car and wait until he heads down the ramp toward the entrance. You're about to explore when you see the guard wave in a large black van with tinted windows. Curious, you watch as the van heads up the ramp. Instead of parking, the van pulls up directly in front of the elevators. A group of people. You can see Brother Tom. Controllers! Someone pushes a button to summon the elevator. You know you have to follow the group, but you can't stay in human form.
Yeah, sure.
Tom would recognize you. You have to try a morph, but what should you choose? You have to make a decision fast. You choose ferret or canine German Shepherd.
Okay, so my plan is to sneak into an elevator full of controllers. Okay. Ferret is smaller. Maybe you might be able to get into the elevator without being seen. But canine maybe belongs there a little bit more, wouldn't be so out of place. Any suggestions from
Giraffe. We have unanimous for giraffe.
You can also ask your kitty catcher. I feel like we need to make use of
hyena.
this.
Okay, I'm gonna use my cutie
No one
catcher.
wants you to morph either of the actual options. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go with
John says, I guess canine. Who's ferret?
H. Okay, and then I got a Rachel, a Tobias, and Axe, and a Tobias. So let's do this Tobias. What would Elfingor do?
He would let himself get eaten.
Elfingor would morph into any other.
What do you? Let's ask everyone. What would Elfingor do in this situation?
Yeah, what would Elfingor do?
Joyce isn't voting because
We keep ignoring
I keep ignoring her. I'm sorry, Joyce. You're always right.
I think that means it's more likely that you'll die this time because you can't just do the opposite.
Fit bird.
Elfingor would be too weak to morph.
Okay, excellent, if not particularly helpful advice, everyone. Thank you. I guess, yeah. I guess ferret. Was that the one?
I mean, it's your choice.
All right, let's
Giraffe instead of
ferret, but you have to replace the word ferret with giraffe every time you read it.
There you go.
Oh, just go to the, okay. You are concealed in a dark corner of the garage. You feel the ground rush up at you as your bones compress. Hair grows on your hands, on your face. Your nose twitches. Your body becomes very, very, very tall. And the giraffe mind urges you to play. There are so many things to investigate in this garage. Wonderful smells, things to sniff from a great height.
Sure.
You wrench your giraffe brain under control. Keep it to the wall. You get close to the group. The elevator dings and the first group crowds on. You slink closer. Do you dare risk boarding the elevator? The lights on the elevator are bright, and you'll probably be noticed.
I am a giraffe after all.
Normally, humans a tall furry creature in a small space with them. But you have a feeling controllers would care. And besides, you have no choice.
Sure.
You slink in between the legs of the controllers and also their torsos and heads and head for the corner. The doors close. We have company, one of the controllers says. They all look down and then up. It's not a cat, someone It's not a dog, someone else
You meant they look up
observes.
and then down, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not a cat, not a dog. True.
The controller who seems to be in charge turns and gives you a dismissive glance. Catch it. I'll throw it down the shaft.
How? What kind of elevators do they have in this? You're going to throw it down the shaft.
Your elevators have trap doors in them in case of
Is that where the Texans
invaders. Yes, the Texans live in the elevator floor.
So throw it down
Visitor
the
3
shaft.
insists. Aliens in the bottom of them. Busted, you can't react or they'll suspect something. Or they'll suspect something.
Sure.
Wait, Tom says, I've seen that animal. It's a giraffe. Belongs to Humphreys. Maybe we shouldn't touch it. Chapman said to take no chances. All right, the other controller turned
No
back.
chances with
Already bored
what?
with the conversation. You're safe for now. The elevator indicator, wow, this giraffe morph went really well.
Well done,
The elevator
everybody.
indicator lights up the sub-level floor. It's as far down as the parking garage goes, except for the floor of the elevator with the Texans in it.
Sure.
But the controller hits a series of buttons and the elevator doesn't stop. It keeps going down. The door opens onto a room that seems carved out of dirt and rock. Sheetrock is nailed up against the walls. You slink out of the elevator and follow the group into a concealed door that leads to an iron staircase. You go down, down, down. Your eyes picks up the smell of dampness. You hear something, a comforting sound that reassures you for a moment, like waves against a shore. But then you hear the screams, human cries of anguish, suffering.
And just sorry, very quickly. Somehow my ferret ears heard the
I'm
laughing.
sorry, you're a
My
giraffe.
giraffe ears heard the lapping of small waves against the shore before I heard the screams.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Very good hearing.
They're very loud waves. And you pick up a horrifyingly familiar smell, Taxons. You don't want to see what's ahead. You don't want to move. Dread fills you. It's so much more enormous than being afraid of a test or the dentist. Just for context. You've only hesitated a moment, but the controllers have disappeared around a turning. You dart forward on your long giraffe legs.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you get hit with is how huge the space is. It's huge even to you, a giraffe. It's maybe 3 times the size of it and carved out of rock and earth. There are still enormous pieces of earth-moving equipment down there, as though the space is constantly being expanded. You notice other staircases winding up and disappearing. There must be secret entrances all over town. The Yeerks are much more numerous than any of you imagined.
Mm-hmm.
Then you notice the cages.
I am not a very observant giraffe.
No, they are filled with humans and Hork-Bajir. Women, children, men. Some of them are screaming. Some of them just sit numbly. Taxons and Hork-Bajir patrol outside the cages. Occasionally, one of the Hork-Bajir lashes out with a tail blade and rattles the cage. The humans shrink back, and the Yeerk-controlled Hork-Bajir let out these huffing sounds that must be laughter. As you watch, one of the Hork-Bajir opens a cage and leads out a woman. She struggles, and the Hork-Bajir casually holds a bladed wrist to her throat. You have no doubt he would slash her in a second. The Hork-Bajir leads her onto a pier. It goes out over a pool that looks as though it's filled He forces her head under the surface. When he jerks her head back up, you see a gray, slimy thing finish slithering inside her ear. Ugh. The woman doesn't struggle anymore. And then you see Tom again. His head is bent over the pool. The same slimy thing slides out of his ear. Immediately, he begins to scream. You can't hear the words, but you can imagine. The Hork-Bajir puts a blade to his throat. It takes 3 of them to get him to a cage and throw him inside.
It doesn't.
You feel sick to your bones. You can't fight this. You should turn around and go back up while you can. Wait to fight another day. You might think that would be a choice, but it's not. Because
Really?
it's hopeless. You didn't think it was possible, but you want to give up. Then you see Cassie. She's being held with the other humans, waiting for a Yeerk slime to invade her brain. Guarding her are 2 Hork-Bajir and a Taxon. Oh, this is worse than before. It's still your blood pounding, and you're ready to fight.
How did Cassie get captured?
At the police officer, remember?
The chat is really excited about the reveal that the Yeerk pool has a wave machine.
They go surfing in every time.
Chapter 14. You scamper down the steps. No one notices you as you dart nimbly across the floor on your giraffe legs. You look like a giant, tall, long-necked mole or another creature of the underground.
Sure.
A breeze tickles your fur and whiskers. A breeze? Down here? You look up. A hawk has just flown over your head. It circles the air above Cassie. Tobias, is that you? Who is it? It's me. I'm a giraffe.
It's me, you.
Sure.
Cool, Tobias answers. We need all the help we can get. The others are about 20 feet behind you. You have to save the floor toward the others. Hey, it's me, you call in thought speak. Look up. Marco almost jumps to the ceiling. Why did you have to pick a rat? He whispers. I'm not a rat. I'm a giraffe. I'm closer to a cat or a dog than a rodent. I like humans. I don't bite. Great, Marco mutters. A giraffe pretending to be a dog. Just what we need. You know, I can always make an exception with the biting thing, you add.
Yeah.
Jake stands on his tiptoes to speak to you. If I were you, I'd morph back to human. You might need a better morph than giraffe. This place is crawling with taxons and Hork-Bajir. All right, you say, but Jake, I saw Tom. He's here, in a cage. I saw him, Jake says tersely. His face tells you everything. You can't. You morph back to human. Rachel pokes her head around the shed. You'd better stay here. You need to gather your strength if you're going to morph again.
And you don't have any clothes on.
We'll come back when it's time. You lean against the storage shed and close your eyes. You concentrate on slow breathing, gathering your strength for the next morph. It's not long before the others return, but they've been spotted. What are you doing back there? It's a human controller. And how did they know your name? Standing next to him is a Hork-Bajir, blade arms at the ready. A taxon stands on the other side, his spidery legs twitching.
What?
Red jello eyes glowing.
Did they not read the other
They're like little
books?
cone
Suddenly,
legs. What kind of
you
spiders
notice
do they have?
something behind the guards. Rachel. Only it's Rachel with a long, long nose. A trunk. She's morphing into an elephant. A braying
Right
noise
there.
fills the air as Rachel feels the elephant's power. She impales a Hork-Bajir on one tusk and steps on a taxon as the human controller
Seriously, what?
runs away. Let's morph, Jake cries. You look over at Cassie. She's almost at the end of the pier. That gives you an extra burst of strength. You concentrate hard. You feel something grow out of the back of you. A tail. Your ears get round and your head gets big. Your teeth sharpen into deadly instruments of terror. You're a fierce, hungry, and very angry hyena, and you have no
Obviously,
fear.
But also.
You start toward Cassie, but a taxon gets in your way. No problem. You rip into him with your teeth. He tries to bite you back, but you are such an efficient killing machine that he is dead before he registers the pain.
And comes over.
Marco is now Big Jim, a huge gorilla. Rachel is trumpeting a fierce call as she mows down another Hork-Bajir. In Tiger Morph, Jake springs at a taxon. You own this place. Marco tosses another Hork-Bajir in the air like a doll. The rest scatter, so they are afraid of something. Marco is the only one with dexterity, so he heads for the cages to unlock them. Jake is already bounding toward Cassie. You He swipes at you with an elbow blade. You spring. You tear at his flesh, then jump away. You strike again, this time for the vulnerable fleshy part near his head. Wounded,
Making you kill
you expect him to fall back, but instead he springs forward, his elbow and wrist blades flashing. Rachel raises a foot and stomps. Thanks, you tell her. Another puny Hork-Bajir bites the dust, Rachel says. She sounds positively bloodthirsty. Tobias swoops down and claws at the eyes of the Hork-Bajir who is holding Cassie. She breaks away and runs. Morph, you yell along with Jake. Now. Even as you watch, Cassie's hair grows into a beautiful mane.
What?
It streams out behind her as her legs extend and she goes down on all fours. It is amazing to see.
She was just captured by that. They know who she is. She's gonna morph into what?
I say we follow
Yeah,
Cassie and
this
get
was a
out of
problem
here,
in the first
Rachel
one, too.
says. I'm right behind you, you say. The people Marco have released are panicking, running toward the stairs. You slip through them, running hard. Cassie and Jake leap over surprise taxons. You remember that Hork-Bajir aren't great on strategy, so you fake left and then go right. It's your,
It's
your
signature move.
Later, I star in High School Musical where they sing about fake left, go right.
Sailing over a long pair of wrist blades that try to slash you at the last minute. You gain the stairs. Balls of flame explode over your head. You leap over a taxon who is aiming a Dracon beam at you, straight into the path of Visser 3 in his Andalite form. The
Wait,
horrid,
in his Andalite form?
evil
Wasn't he just
voice
throwing
fills
fireballs?
your head. Well, if it isn't a bunch of renegade Andalites. He begins to morph into a creature tall as a building, 8 legs, 8 arms, and 8 heads. You can feel that even the hyena inside you feels doubt. You can't take on this creature. You can't escape, Visser 3 cries. You filthy creep. It's Tom, Jake's brother. Oh, it's Tom. Jake's brother. No, Jake cries. He springs at the huge creature that is Visser 3, straight toward the eyes. He claws at the
Which
face.
set of eyes?
Visser 3 howls in pain. Fireballs explode. One almost gets Jake. Tom falls off the stairs. Jake, run, Cassie cries urgently. With a howl of anguish, Jake turns and heads up the stairs. Rachel begins to demorph as she climbs so she can fit in the stairway. You can't run, Visser 3 cries. Oh yes, you can. The stairway narrows. Visser 3 hadn't counted on your making it that far. In his huge morph, he can't make it upstairs. You run and you run. You break through the janitor's door and back into school. You keep on running until you're outside in the safety of the trees. And then you all morph back. You're safe. For now.
What?
You look at your friends and see the same exhaustion on their faces.
Sorry, I'm trying to
Even
look more
Marco
exhausted.
can't come up with a joke. Cassie puts her hand over Jake's. Rachel stares back at the amazing. Tobias flies closer and perches on her shoulder.
Aww.
Wait. Tobias got out?
You know that more
Apparently.
terror lies ahead. You know that safety is now an illusion.
Sure.
You will never feel truly safe again.
Uh-huh.
Excellent morph. Turn to page 69 for your next Animorph.
Hey, I haven't
adventure.
done it yet, you guys. I'm so
Also,
happy.
Tobias is this is so confusing. Okay.
Is this after the?
I guess you saved Tobias.
Yay!
Yeah, you don't notice or care Tobias didn't morph back. Sorry, you doesn't. It's,
No,
it's,
you does
It's
not.
very confusing. This is why no one likes you.
This is why you didn't get mentioned in the real first book.
Of course, it's choice.
Pizza for dinner, your mom says. Awesome, you say. It's a Saturday afternoon. You just returned from the mall. Sometimes.
Wait. Are we going? Is this like? Are we diverging from canon now, or are we going to go on to book 2? Like, this is really exciting.
I don't know.
We're only like,
Oh.
yeah, we're.
Yeah. No choice after this chapter.
Why are there were so few choices in a choose your own adventure book? Did they never read
Well, it
a
doesn't say choose your own
adventure book?
adventures. It's
It's
just
just the one.
No, I'm pretty sure the concept is you only get to pick what you morph, right? Like,
So far?
Yeah, that's
which is pretty
frustrating.
disappointing.
But I'd be 2
Oh.
out of 3 good morph choices.
There's definitely something you could have chosen that would have been much worse. I'm seeing on a different page.
Oh,
So
okay.
you've done very well.
Yay, I haven't died yet.
Okay. It's a Saturday afternoon. You just returned from the mall. Sometimes you just need an ordinary day. You've been on plenty of missions with the Animorphs.
Where? What?
They forgot to mention you in all the books. Sorry, Gray. Your close calls have given you nightmares. You are living in a world with new rules. Sometimes you think you'll go crazy. Sometimes you want to go crazy. Living with stark terror every day will do that to you. So whenever you can, you try to do something normal. As much as morphing into an osprey might be fun, it isn't normal. Not by. When I called Jake that morning to ask if anything was up, he just sighed. I say we take a day off from saving the world, he said, clearly not remembering how that always goes very wrong.
Very poorly.
Wait, are we doing Megamorphs 1?
I don't know.
Sounds like a Megamorphs 1 premise.
I don't know. I can't believe you said that on the phone also. The smell of green peppers fills the kitchen. You watch your mom chop. She makes her own pizza, and it's the best in town. Was she a controller? Did we know?
I think she is. She must be, right? Are we about to find out?
Maybe. Can we have sausage on it, you ask? Mom grins. Sure, it's Saturday. Let's live a little. You reach into the refrigerator for a soda and flash. The heat presses against your skin. You hear the call of birds and insects. Guess what book we're doing now?
Oh no!
It's 11.
Are we doing
The Forgotten.
11.
No.
I definitely, okay. So when I read this as a kid, I started and I was like, this is making canon seem fake. And then I threw it away. So I definitely didn't get this far, and it's very.
Why
Hey,
are we?
so
what
we
is
did not
happening?
improve on the invasion, but we might be able to improve on the Forgotten.
Well, maybe Tobias didn't get trapped.
Yeah.
Okay, you hear the call of birds and insects. Where did you guys go? Rachel asks. And where are we? Cassie wonders. And why don't I have shoes? Marco asks. Flash. And a nice green salad, Mom finishes. I have to sneak something healthy in there. Your hand is cold. You look at the sweat beating up on the can. Whoa, what was that about? It was so real. The heat had been just as intense as the cold in your fingers right now. Can you hand me that garlic? Mom asks. You nod and reach for a garlic bulb in a bowl on the counter. You hand it to Mom and flash. Really? A monkey morph? Marco says, lifting an eyebrow. Listen, I've been a gorilla. That would be quite a demotion, don't you think? Marco, I'm just
Little Jim.
wondering.
Okay.
Marco, I'm just wondering, Rachel says, her hands on her hips. Do you always have to make things difficult? Is it like your hobby? It's my
Yes.
life. Marco says, yes. Would you do me a favor and pick some basil off the plant? Mom asks. Sweetie, are you okay? I'm okay, you say, but you're not. Something is really, truly wrong, and you have to find out what. It sounds like a Sario rip, Jake says wordly, knowing what that is for reasons.
Maybe they already did 11. This is like
It's
this is like 11B.
Redux,
But
yeah.
there's no axe.
No, I'm sure
Axe,
they've
there's an
rescued
axe.
Axe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You've been on many missions now. Okay.
John suggested maybe the missions that weren't worth writing about in the books.
Oh, yeah, that's
Those are the ones that you come
You
on.
were on.
great. I'm not a useful person.
You've ridden as fast as you can on your bike to Jake's house. Because you don't want to morph a bird, I guess. You only have half an hour before dinner. Axe is there too, and he looks just as worried as Jake. He'd been eating his very first licorice whip
When did we get an axe?
in
Are
one
they-
of the missions
But
that was.
my thing is, if you like the way that this has been described, right, is that
Uh-huh.
like you could pick this up. Even
Oh,
the
yeah.
cameras.
Can you?
At
Oh,
least
I
at
guess the
beginning,
intro.
right?
Yeah,
It was all
yeah.
about like this is what is happening. So then at some point, 73 pages into the book, they're just like, also
Axe.
there's an
Let's hope
axe.
that you've read the first 10 Animorphs books now.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, if you hadn't, why would you still be reading this book?
It's not a very good.
No.
Choose your own
it's not
adventure,
good.
so.
Okay.
All right.
Axe is there too, right? He'd been eating his very first licorice whip, which is very exciting for him.
It
He'd been
is.
he'd been really enjoying it.
Sure.
But he stopped when you blurted out your story. Not again, he says. No, not again, Prince Jake. This is not good. What's a Sario rip, you ask? Are you sure it was a jungle, Jake asks, instead of answering
It's
you.
gonna get you to the same place.
Or
Why
was
would
it a
take you to-
rainforest? Sario rips only work on rainforests.
Why would it take you to a jungle again? It didn't make sense the first time.
Like, I can tell the difference, you ask? You're starting to feel impatient. Jake turns to Axe. But I reversed the rip. How can this happen? Shrug at the end of the licorice. I don't know. When they taught about Sario rips in class, I was not paying attention. Jake finishes impatiently. I know. Young Andalite females can do that, Axe says, indulging in compulsive, heteronormativity.
Can you what?
Can distract you, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah, actually, that didn't really make sense.
I was what? Okay.
Young Andalite females can do that, Axe says. He slurps up another inch of licorice, showing uncharacteristic restraint. This tastes red. Red. Tastes red. Red. Cherry, Jake says absently. It's cherry flavored. Will somebody please fill me in, you demand?
Mhm.
A Sario rep.
You is the worst.
He was
I
very
mean, that's
funny.
fair. I would want to be filled in too. A Sario rip is like a hole in space-time, Jake explains. We've all experienced it, except I'm the only one who remembers it. That's because I died back there, but not in this time, so I was able to come back.
One of the many times that Jake has died.
Wait, in order to get through the end of this book,
I mean,
you might
I
have to
haven't-
spoil your
Wow,
perfect
wow.
record.
That would be a bummer. Oh, thanks, you say. That clears it up. Totally. The thing is that Axe said you need some sort of huge explosion to blow you back, Jake says worriedly. I guess maybe it hasn't happened yet. Terrific, you say. Something to look forward to besides pizza. Nuclear annihilation. Unless we're in a rip right now, Axe puts in. A rip within a rip. So every time rip is in there, it's italicized. It's great. Jake frowns.
That
What
hurts.
does that mean?
What does that mean?
Shrugs. It could be his first shrug because he looks surprised at the motion.
Oh,
He does it again for practice.
John points out that a rip within a rip is a pocket rip.
No.
Everybody drink.
Okay. I do not know. I am just
Oh,
guessing.
no.
Want some licorice? He said with uncharacteristic generosity. He holds a piece out to you and flash.
Now, do I choose
So
a
wait.
thing?
Is
No.
it just a coincidence you just get the
Good
flash?
question.
I think I'm onto something here.
Food related Sario rip.
Maybe
It was a pizza explosion.
I was going to say something exploded in the pizza.
Chapter 17.
It's all the garlic.
The trees soar above your heads.
Mhm.
The leaves make a canopy so dense it blocks out the sky. The heat presses against your skin. Whoa, Jake cries. What's going on? Wait, you say. You mean you know you're here with me? It's the same place, Jake says, spinning around.
What?
Hang on.
What?
He darts through the trees, and you and Axe follow. You stop abruptly when Jake does, bumping into him. In a small clearing is a bug fighter. It is scorched and trashed, as though it had crash landed. This is totally freaked, Jake whispers. I'll say, a voice says. It's Rachel, who steps through the trees, Cassie and Marco at her side. Where did you guys go? And where are we? Cassie asks. And why don't I have shoes? Marco asks glumly, staring at his bare feet. I've been circling
I don't know how
above,
they got there.
No.
Okay, great.
but all agrees, Tobias says in thought speak. He swoops down and lands on a tree trunk. I'd say we're in a rainforest. I can try to see if there's a city or village nearby. There's no city, Jake mutters. Pray tell, how do you know, oh fearless leader? Marco asks. I just do, Jake says. He frowns. The first thing we have to do is take the onboard navigating computer. Visser 3 will be coming back for the bug fighter. How do
Wait,
you know this stuff?
Wasn't
Cassie
that the
asks.
mistake before?
The last thing I remember, I was on the bug ship. We were shooting Dracon beams at Visser 3. It's a Sario rip, Jake says. Quickly, he summarizes what has happened.
How? 'Cause I don't know
Unfortunately, we don't get brought into
We
the
don't get the
loop.
summary.
Do not know what is
He's
happening.
Just summarizing. Okay.
So how do we get back? Cassie asks. You can tell she's trying not to look scared. I'm not sure, Jake admits. Last time, I had to die. I don't especially want to do that again.
Wait for
Just wait,
Nagamorphs 3.
Are you all thinking what I am thinking? Axe suddenly asks. Marco rolls his eyes.
Somebody shoot
What? Think about it, Prince Jake, Axe continues. You have been given a second chance. And by you, I mean Prince Jake, not you. Last time, you made mistakes. What I mean to say is, you made good decisions, but things went wrong.
Did they?
Thanks for trying to make me feel better, Axe, but you were right the first time, Jake says wryly. We walked right into Visser 3's trap. But this time, we will not walk into the trap, Axe points out. We know what is wrong to do. Now we must do what is right to do. You're right, Axe, Jake says excitedly. We've been given a second chance. And the first thing we should do is not take the onboard computer. Can you just disable it instead? Make it look like it happened in the crash, but be sure that they can fix it. That will slow them down while we follow through on a plan.
Wait, Joyce has a question. Is Axe using regular human speech in the physical book, or is it just the PDF?
Nope, he is using human speech.
Okay.
He's still in human morph from the licorice.
Oh, okay.
But that doesn't
Because
really
they
make
just
sense
got
because everyone else is
Zapped
in.
suddenly.
No, because Cassie was just on a bug fighter. So
Okay.
it's like Axe and Jake came through with you.
With you.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm
Joyce.
sorry for your pain.
I can do this, Prince Jake, Axe says, nodding. He takes off for the bug fighter. What plan? Marco asks. Call me crazy, but I have a feeling I'm not going to like this.
Yeah.
It's simple, Jake says. We're going to sneak on board the blade ship.
No.
Already, I don't like it, Marco interrupts, groaning.
Me too.
And destroy Visser 3, Jake says grimly.
Nope, bad idea.
Then we'll recreate the rip
How?
and get back to our own time.
How will that work?
Wait, why are they
Sounds
destroying
like
Visser
a good
3?
plan,
Oh,
Rachel
okay.
agrees. Especially the destroy Visser 3 part.
But if you go back then to your own time, I think he's still around.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Find that out the
you'd
first
think
time.
so, Marco says. What do you need morphing ability for? You're already an animal. The question
Shut
is,
up, Marco.
what should we morph? Cassie asks.
Oh, we
Hanging
finally
out.
get a choice, huh?
We have to get through the rules. And how about monkeys? Really, a monkey morph? Marco says, lifting an eyebrow. Listen, I've been a gorilla. That would be quite a demotion, don't you think? Marco, I'm just wondering, Rachel says, her hands on her hips. Do you always have to make things difficult? Is it like your hobby? It's his life, you say. Marco gives you a strange look. I was going to say that. I know, you say. Come on, guys, Jake says. We have decisions to make. We have to acquire morphs that will help us cope with the rainforest. But we also need morphs that will help us sneak aboard the blade ship. And we might need the help of that tribe you met last time, Axe says as he reappears. You said they were pretty helpful against the Hork-Bajir.
You meaning Jake, not you.
What about using an ant morph again, you suggest?
No.
You point to a tree.
How could you?
I read about-
remember.
I read about those
remember.
ants. They're called parasol ants.
No.
They can climb hundreds of feet. And we'd be so
Why?
small we can sneak onto the bug fighter with
I
no
would
problem.
never.
That's true, Cassie says reluctantly. No, ants again, Marco says, shuddering. That was the worst. You all begin to argue about what morphs to acquire, but you're running out of time. You might only have time for one morph. You choose a monkey, a parrot, a parasol ant.
Oh man. Okay, let's see what the people are saying.
You guys, I really don't want to be an ant.
They're all saying that no one likes you. That you as the friend no one invites to parties.
Yeah, you is terrible.
John says parrot. And no one else is saying anything. They don't care what you more.
This just says trust Jake. That's
Oh, what did Jake want to do?
Yeah.
Last thing we heard from Jake
Beefruit says ant because everyone hates you. Sam
was,
says parrot.
we
Lauren-
have to acquire morphs that will help us cope with the rainforest, but we also need morphs that will help us sneak aboard the blade ship. That's
Okay,
what Jake said.
Well, I trust you, but that's not actually advice.
Okay, Lauren says monkey.
Okay.
Timberwolf says parrots and monkeys are both great. Polargeist says ant because right.
No. Okay.
Joyce points out it was parrot in 11, but so many bad things happened in 11.
Good point.
Katie says do not morph ant.
Okay. Let's all good advice. Thank you. How about let's do monkey?
All right,
All right.
going for monkey. That's the next page.
Oh, great.
I'm worried.
Okay.
I've made this far without dying. I'm very proud of all of us.
Good luck. You'd felt out of place in the rainforest. First of all, the bugs alone are enough to send you screaming toward the horizon,
Accurate.
if there'd been a horizon. But once you morph a monkey, you discover that the vines you thought of as choking off air and light are, well, like monkey bars, which gives you a
Wah,
chance to
wah,
use what
wah.
must be the coolest tail in the universe, because you've definitely never seen an Andalite. Cooler than mine,
Well,
accent.
Andalites in this canon have stinger tails instead of blade tails, which is
That's-
significantly less cool.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Axeman, Marco tells swing. Like, their tails are very strong and, like,
But they're not
bendy.
prehensile.
Well, no, because they can use them to fight.
Yeah.
So could
Wait.
an Andalite swing through the trees like Hork-Bajir style with their tail?
Would the tail wrap around a tree branch to let it
You-
swing, or would it like you'd have to like hit it real
Like
hard?
stab it and
You
then
may have
swing.
made the wrong choice. I'd like to read you a selection from Parrot that Joyce has sent us.
Uh-huh.
This isn't like being a falcon and soaring with the thermals. You really have to work. Well, work it, girl, Marco teases.
Oh
How do you know I'm a girl? Jake asks. Because that red tail is so adorable, Marco answers.
no! Oh no! Joyce, thank you for for sending that to us.
Fixing Gray's errors. Missing out on that
Oh,
great
I'm
Marco
so
Jake
sorry.
moment.
Maybe there'll be one
Probably
here.
immediately before all the parrots
They all die,
horribly,
right?
so-
Yeah.
Probably. Okay.
Okay.
You all scamper up trees, grab fire, and just let yourself go out into space. And you catch a branch with your tail. Okay, there's some sound effects here.
Yes.
You swing past Rachel. How come I keep surely
I
your steps
love
head get the
sound
sound effects?
effects.
Okay. You swing past Rachel, grab a branch with your hand, hang in midair a minute, launch yourself toward a vine. You bare your teeth at her. She's familiar with this, having many teeth herself.
Yeah.
I can do that, Rachel calls.
Uh-huh.
She means bare her teeth. She grabs the same vine, swings over, and lands on your branch. She bares her teeth at you, too. Thank you. Guys, can you stop playing for a minute? Tobias sits on a branch near you. He sounds almost sulky. Shouldn't we be following through on our plan?
Poor Tobias.
Yeah,
He
maybe.
can't morph yet.
Maybe. Did he get stuck in the first place? I don't even know. Marco swings back and forth on a vine. Who needs a plan? Forget Visor 3. This is like being a 6-year-old forever, only with no school. That is kidding, correct? Axe asks. It's kidding, Jake tells him. That's what you Chassis. I think I hear something. Then you hear it too. Some creatures are crashing through the underbrush. I bet that's our search party, Jake says. There's a human controller leading them, Tobias says from his high branch. I'll get closer. With a flap of wings, Tobias takes off. A human can tell what creatures don't belong here, Jake says. Tobias, stay out of sight. I just want to see how many... Whoa! Dracon beam, Tobias shouts. I think he saw... Tobias? Rachel says frantically.
Oh,
You all exchange worried glances. You take off, grabbing vines and branches and swinging through the trees. Before it was a game. Now it is life or death.
no. Oh, no.
You see Tobias ahead. He has been caught in a net. He's been hit by a Dracon beam.
Oh, no.
Tobias, Rachel cries. I'm singed, but okay, he answers. I just can't get out of this net. Rachel goes into action.
Yay.
She launches herself out into midair and grabs a vine. She swings over and lands on Tobias's branch. Using her sharp teeth, she begins to shred the net while she pulls it apart with her hands. That's no monkey! The beam explodes near Rachel. Like, it explodes? Okay. You need to cover her. You swing over and begin to chatter, trying to draw the Hork-Bajir's fire. You grab a vine and swing right by a Hork-Bajir. He slashes in the air after you, but you're gone. That one, the little one. Get him.
Oh, no.
Gray.
Oh, no.
Gray.
Oh, no.
A Dracon
Did I
beam
die?
explodes near you, felling a tree in half. Before you can scamper up the next tree or grab a vine, another one explodes. This one gets you, and you fall
Oh,
straight onto the lethal blade of a Hork-Bajir. Oops. Bad morph. Go back to page 78 and try again.
Oh, no. I can't believe I died. All
All right, so now your choices are parrot or parasol ant.
Let's do the parrot so we can get the good Marco and Jake Marco.
All right.
We're doing parrot.
We're doing
Okay,
parrot.
here we go. Here we go.
Oh, bad more.
Oh,
Seriously, what
you
are
know.
these books? Your options are probably not.
yep.
Choose your own adventure.
Sorry, R.I.P. Nice, Katie.
Sorry.
Well played.
Good joke. All right.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
All right.
Chapter 19. You don't have the same wing strength as a bird of prey, but at least you can fly. The parrot morph allows you to soar just underneath the upper canopy. Your green feathers offer camouflage. I like this morph, Cassie says. I really feel like I belong here. As long as Tobias doesn't eat us for lunch, Marco says, dipping under a tree branch and then soaring upward. I'm sure getting a workout, Jake says. This isn't like being a falcon and soaring with the thermals. You really have to work. Well, work it, girl, Marco teases. How do you know I'm a girl, Jake asks. Because that red tail is so adorable, Marco answers. Everyone laughs, and it comes out in parrot speak. Doing it with a curved beak. Pipe down, you guys, Tobias warns. I see them. Tobias has been flying ahead of the group. With his superior eyesight and wing power, he's able to see the Hork-Bajir from far away. They're destroying everything, Tobias suddenly shouts. Must have gotten bored just looking. They're slashing and burning. Okay, fade back, Tobias, Jake warns. We'll take over. They just killed a sloth and her babies, Tobias continues.
Oh.
For nothing. Those murderers. Now, Tobias, Jake shouts. In another moment, you see a blur of brown feathers. Tobias drops onto a branch. They're killing everything that moves, he says in disbelief. That is what the Yeerks are best at, Axe says quietly. You leave Tobias behind and fly ahead. You hear the Hork-Bajir before you see them. Dracon beams sizzle. The smell of burnt things fills the air. You hear the cries of what sounds like thousands of birds, fellow creatures trying to flee. Guys? It's Rachel, who has spurted ahead, her wings just a blur of motion. I think I see something. Thanks, Rach. That really narrows it down, Marco says. The one with the roots, Rachel says impatiently.
The one with
Again,
the roots.
Not useful.
I love Rachel.
They are trees.
You look down. You see nothing, just branches and leaves. But then the leaves move, and you see a person concealed behind them. He is holding a spear. And then you see another and another. You found the tribe. They're spying on the Hork-Bajir, Cassie whispers. It's funny how you sometimes feel a need to whisper even though you're talking in thought speak. I have a plan, Jake says. Follow me and do what I do. He swoops down and lands on the shoulders of one of the tribe. They are men and boys, all with dark hair and alert dark eyes. They are wearing something that looks like a diaper made out of leaves. You swoop down on another shoulder. Rachel follows. Then Cassie, Marco, Axe. Tobias flutters down and lands on a low branch. The tribe does nothing. They don't even move a muscle. But you see every pair of eyes turn to one man. He is either your age or your grandfather. Cassie, Jake says, you morph. Cassie doesn't even ask why. She flies to the center of the clearing. You wonder why he's chosen Cassie. But as Cassie begins to morph, you understand. Cassie can control her morph so that she changes gracefully. She isn't scary. She's beautiful. She retains her bright feathers as she grows. She changes her face first. So at first, she's a bird girl. Her tail retracts, but her feathered wings still flutter. Slowly, her feathers turn to smooth skin, starting with her feet and slowly moving up her body. Again, the tribe doesn't move. They don't raise their spears. Espirito, the leader says. He called her a spirit, Marco translates. Cassie, nod, Jake directs. Cassie nods. She holds out her arms as though she is gathering the tribe to her. It is a welcoming gesture. You realize she is telling them not to be afraid. Can they use the universal symbols of thought speak? Now draw a Hork-Bajir with a stick, Jake tells her. Cassie bends over and draws the Hork-Bajir in the dust. It's not pretty distinctive. Diablo, the leader says. Devil,
Sure.
Marco says. Cassie nods. Now draw the blade ship, Jake directs. They need to understand that we have to get aboard. Cassie draws the blade ship.
I don't know if I
She
understand
points
that
to
from the
herself
drawing.
and the ship. Then she points to the leader and stabs the Hork-Bajir with her stick. The leader grins. He throws the spear. Cassie, Rachel cries. But the spear just misses Cassie and lands at her feet, straight into the center of the Hork-Bajir drawing. Cassie smiles. The leader smiles. You all say, "Ka ka ka!" Rat, rat.
I'm so glad we got Ted to do some of the sound
Yeah,
effects.
sound effect.
Cassie needs time to recover from her morph, so you all rest in human form. With a combination of signs and pointing, Cassie has arranged to meet up with the tribe again, just as dusk falls. Your parrot morph was successful. You met up with the tribe and escaped the notice of the Hork-Bajir.
Yay.
But you need another morph to
Oh.
sneak aboard the blade ship. You choose Chameleon,
Oh.
Poison Arrow Frog.
Ooh. Oh gosh, fun.
Okay, specifically to sneak on board the blade ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like
I
the
think Marco doesn't. John wants to know if Marco speaks Spanish. Why I use signs and pointing? I think he doesn't. He speaks like 50 words of Spanish.
Because Marco's an ugly morpher. They would totally spear him before he was done demorphing.
yeah, that's the
Oh,
reason.
everyone says frog so far. I have 4 votes for
Really?
frog.
But chameleons.
It's
like-
unanimous.
But like,
Ella says froggy,
do the
which is
the-
cuter.
blend into the background thing.
It's true. It's true. Well, anyone want chameleon?
Aaron points out, if you're correcting the mistakes of the forgotten, what is least like the choice they made?
Okay, so they chose.
It really is unanimous for frog.
Okay, let's do that.
But do you trust them? I mean,
I trust them.
Joyce hasn't chimed in, so we
Yeah.
really don't know.
Until Joyce said.
Yeah.
Frogs are cool.
All right, let's
How can you argue?
do the
Turn to
Okay.
page
frog.
110.
Oh no. We're gonna
That's so close to
die.
the end. Maybe you'll just make it out. Okay. The poison arrow. Your
Oh, no.
powerful hind legs. I miss when we were just replacing everything with giraffe. and Sally. You could have marked giraffe here. With your powerful hind legs, you leap through the rainforest to the site of the blade ship. No, they live in elevators. You lurk beneath a bush, waiting for Tobias' signal. They've started fighting, Tobias says. Where are you? I can't see you. To the right of the blade ship, you say. Which is totally clear.
That is not a useful direction.
Underneath that bush with the pointy leaves, Cassie adds.
Also not a useful direction.
Clearly not, because Tobias says, I still can't see you, and I can't find Mr. 3. He could be in a new morph. Watch, you say. You hop out a few feet into the clearing. Okay, got you, Tobias says. You'd better circle to the other side. There's Hork-Bajir in your vicinity. You hop back. Together with the others, you make your way around the ship. Around you, you can hear the Hork-Bajir crashing through the rainforest. Every so often, you hear the sizzle of Dracon beams. Apparently, I'm very inconsistent with how I say that. Sorry, everyone. It begins to rain. You're thirsty for water.
Yeah.
You hop forward and stick out your tongue.
That's probably not how frogs get water, right?
Oh no, the water feels cool. You swallow gratefully. The rain feels good, you say. What rain? Tobias asks.
Oh no.
A brownish, greenish creature suddenly detaches itself from a tree. It appears to have no bones, but at the end of its 5 arms are sprinkler-like holes. They are spraying you with water. It's a Bahion,
gross.
Axe cries. Look out for its... A 3-foot-wide, sticky pink tongue suddenly shoots out of the creature's mouth. It laps you up like cream. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No.
You thrash about, but you can't escape as the tongue shoots you backward into the waiting mouth. Frog's legs. Delicious, Visser 3 says.
I hope I poison you.
And slurp. You're finished. Oops. Try again.
All
Back to
right.
page 100. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I don't know if chameleons like hang out.
Page 100 is definitely not right. Those choices are hyena, canine, dog, or giraffe.
No, we have to go all the way back.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot that we haven't done there. Okay. Oh, okay. Going back to page 88, in fact.
Okay.
All right. So, chameleon. You want to go with chameleon?
I want to go chameleon.
Chameleon?
Yeah, because we want to sneak onto a thing.
All right. First, your skin turns green.
Okay.
Are we Martians or reptiles? Marco is just
Shut up,
able
Marco.
to get out before he's unable to speak. The rest of his complaint sounds like, "Ack, ack." I love this tail, Cassie thought speaks. You know what she means. A chameleon's tail is almost like a monkey's, curled and strong. You roll your eyes. One goes left, the other right. You can get a 180-degree view without turning your head as you make your way to the perimeter of the landing site. Okay, remember, when you see Visser 3 in the window of the blade ship, it's only a decoy, Jake says. That's what he did in the last Sario read. So all we have to do is come to the ship from behind. And meanwhile, the tribe will cover us with a diversion. If all goes as planned, you say, which it never does, Marco adds. The tribe is in place, Tobias tells you. Visser 3 is in Lurdathak mode. I can see the vines moving.
Oh, yeah.
Jake has told you about Visser 3's morph. The Lurdathak is as tall as a tree, has hundreds of vine-like tentacles. They can strike like whips and squeeze all the breath out of you. Then the Lurdathak can just pop you in its cavernous mouth like good and plenty. It's an experience you're happy to
Nice
skip.
candy choice.
It's dusk, Cassie observes. Time for the tribe to attack. Your coloring protects you as you scurry along the floor. You belong in the forest, are part of the forest. You can hear the sound of Hork-Bajir in the background. You let the chameleon's instincts take over. Because if you let your human mind start to think, it will fill up with fear. You are running toward Visser 3, not away from him. The tribe is attacking, Tobias. The lookout tells you. They keep melting back into the forest. The Hork-Bajir are going crazy. Get onto the blade ship, Tobias, Jake urges while he runs. Do it. You are running flat out now. A chameleon can't run very fast, not as fast as a jaguar.
Oh, no.
But you reach the
Okay.
burned out clearing. The blade ship looms ahead. Jake goes first, then Rachel, one by one, moving as fast as you dare, but keeping to the dark green shadows. You approach the huge black ship. The gangway is down. You all scamper up it, then keep to the sidewalls of the ship. Tobias? Jake asks. I'm here, up high in the rafters.
Yay. Rafters.
You roll your eyes up. You just barely make out Tobias. On the
I can't
charming,
believe you only barely make out with Tobias in
the,
this
cha-
book.
the charming old forest wood rafters of the blade ship. You're getting darker. May I make a suggestion, Prince Jake? Axe says. Perhaps we should scatter. One chameleon might have wandered aboard, but not 6.
Yeah.
Good point, Jake agrees. Let's find
5.
separate positions.
Not 5.
We have to wait until the ship goes back to the same space position and fires its rockets. Then we should land back in our own time. What about Visser 3?
I don't
Axe
remember
asks.
that being the way you
When
said
do we destroy him? Rachel asks. Shouldn't we pick a place to hide where we can morph into something really dangerous? We can take him by surprise. Jake hesitates. Wasn't that the plan? Rachel asks urgently.
Oh, Rachel.
I'm not sure now, Jake says. It might be too dangerous. Maybe we should just let Visser 3 blast us back into our own time. But we'll lose our chance, Rachel argues. I'm with Jake, Marco says. If we live, we can come back and fight another day. I'll go with whatever you all decide, Cassie says. If I can get a word in, Tobias says, this ship is constantly patrolled, and the bridge is full of taxons. Doesn't mean we'll survive. Axe? Jake asks. Visser 3 killed my brother. He is my sworn enemy, Axe says. I will meet with him someday. It may not be today. I will follow your decision, Prince Jake. I wish you didn't say that, Jake groans.
Poor Jake.
It's the Saria rip that's complicating things, you say. We don't know if we'll make it back. We don't know if we're part of someone's memory. If we kill Visser 3 now, in this time, what happens to us in real time?
You am the worst.
This is way too confusing, Cassie sighs. I need a nap, Marco says. And I haven't said that since I was 3 years old.
That seems very unlikely.
Yeah.
Let's hide, Jake says finally. We still have time to decide. Time is running out for Visser 3. He can't afford to chase that tribe around the forest any longer. The 6 of you melt behind a console. You space yourselves apart, but within thought-speaking distance. Leave them! A terrible voice invades your head. If you had hands, you'd put when Visser 3 and thought speak, it feels as though your whole brain shudders. Leave them behind, Visser 3 continues. He's back in Andalite morph. It is not the punishment those Andalites deserve, but it will have to be enough. Visser 3 places himself in one of the chairs on the bridge. Now take off, you worthless slime, he says to the Taxon captain.
What a good boss.
A message crackles over the communication system. Bugfighter ready for takeoff. So take off, fool, Visser 3 roars in thought speak. You can feel the great ship rise, but you can't see anything. You feel a burst of optimism. It feels like the first step toward home. Axe, keep track of the time for us, Jake advises in private thought speak. I will, Prince Jake, Axe says, but there is no telling when Visser 3 will order the double blast. The Bugfighter and the Blade Ship have to intersect those Dracon beams. Perhaps they have already agreed on a coordinate. There is no way of knowing. Which means, Rachel says, that if we do want to attack Visser 3, we better do it soon. Maybe we should.
Surrounded by
He is cut off by the bleeding of Visser 3 shouting, No! The blast rocks you. Flash! You're in the front quad outside school. You're wearing a sweater you haven't worn since last year. Ahead of you is the bus stop. You see Patrolman Teeter directing traffic. He retired last summer. You turn.
No!
Rachel is back on the steps of school. Her hair is a good 4 inches shorter.
What?
She touches it, frowning. She wore it that way last year. You've gone back in time like you should have, but you've overshot your time.
Oh,
What?
You're a year too early. End of chapter.
Okay.
Now were there 2 of you?
What's going on, you say? This isn't a flashback. It's going on too long, but it doesn't feel real either. Oh, man, Marco says. Does this mean I have to go through homeroom with Ms. Pedalowski again? Something's wrong, you say. Just then, a car pulls up to the curb. A window slides down. Marco's mother waves at him. What are you doing here, Mom? He says. You've been dead for a year. Hi, honey. Thought I'd give you a ride. Next to you, Marco has gone completely still. His mother is dead, and has been for at least a year before this flashback. That's what everyone thinks anyway. Only you, Jake, and Axe know that Marco's mother was taken over by the Yeerks. She is Visser 3's rival, Visser 1. Marco takes a step forward. He moves stiffly, like he's frozen. You can see tears in his eyes. His mom is so alive. A breeze...
I mean, that's a pretty binary thing.
It would have been perfect if it had said his mom is alive, right? But his mom is so alive. It's ridiculous.
Alive is also in italics.
So alive.
She lifts her heavy dark hair. Her hand rests on the open window. I'm not sure how. I don't know. Her wedding ring glints in the sun.
It's like a mime. She rested on the open window.
Her wedding ring glints in the sun. Come on, Slowpoke, she teases. Have you got lead in your shoes? Mom, Marco whispers.
We know where Marco gets his sense of humor.
I'm sorry. Mom, Marco whispers. Marco's mom swings the door open and steps out onto the curb. It is as though everything is in slow motion. You are shocked to see her alive and warm and happy. Not cold. Anyway, so it takes
She's
you
so
longer.
alive,
Dead
Jenny.
and sad.
That she's warm. So it takes you longer than it should to see the pit bull.
What?
It runs across the grass toward her. Then you hear the voice that haunts your nightmares. I will end it here.
What?
Marco, you cry. It's Visser 3. Marco starts to run. But you can't fight this dog. Not as a human, anyway. He is too far away. You have only seconds, which is a shame because it takes at least a minute to morph. You have to try a morph. You choose.
Wait.
Wait, so your plan?
Wait. Wait. Hold on. Okay.
This is the good ending?
First of
I don't know
all,
what would have happened if it went Jaguar.
this is slander against pit bulls.
Well, I think this is Visser 3 is a pit bull. But yes, you're right. You're
Visser 3 is the
Everyone
pit
wants you
bull.
to morph giraffe.
Yeah, the options are hyena, canine, unit dog, or giraffe. FYI for the yeah.
But so Visser 3 is the pit bull.
Yes.
Who is his mom?
Visser 1.
No, but she's been dead for a year.
Well, I think that they forgot that it was 2 years before the start of the Animorphs. So when they put them back a year, they're like, oh, it's for her parents.
Okay, so this is just an editorial issue that she's alive. So
it's
she
not
is actually her.
It's not a surprise for anyone in this time to see her
No,
alive.
no.
So
I think this is. I think that this is.
Visser 1.
I think this is
No.
Visser 1 appearing and Visser 3 trying to kill Visser
Well,
1 as a
yes.
pit bull.
Well, yes, but
Okay.
this is when she's a controller but hasn't disappeared yet. They
No,
just got their timeline
okay.
wrong.
I see. Okay.
I
It's
think
possible.
so.
My brain hurts.
Well, what else would it be?
No, I think you're right. It
Okay.
just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because it would have had to be 4 years earlier if it was just the mom. Okay, so hyena,
But
canine, dog, or
The plan is to
giraffe.
morph
Giraffe.
in front of both Visser 1 and Visser 3. You're going to get you all
Yes.
killed, you.
And then fight
Shame
a
on you.
pit bull
Yes.
to save
Visser 1 / Marco's mom.
or Marco? Is he trying to attack Visser 1 or Marco?
Well, Marco is running after the dog, but I think the dog is after Visser 1. Because I think I think Visser 3, Visser 3, instead of being like, let's just fix the Sire Rip, was like, I'm going to go back in time and kill Visser 1 before she messes with all my plans and like freeze the Endolites in space and stuff.
Huh.
I assume is what happened here. It's a great plan.
There
Totally makes
is
sense.
so little explanation for any of these things
Accurate.
that I am deeply
This is a very, very bad book, just in case you haven't noticed. Okay.
Okay, giraffe, please.
Giraffe.
Yeah.
Great.
It's the only option.
I mean,
Yeah,
what else
it's
could
true.
I do?
I'm glad everyone was behind
I
that.
mean, I guess it could be a
obvious
ferret and then
decision.
just call it a
Well,
giraffe.
it could have been a hyena.
Okay. Remember,
Let's see how this goes.
Okay.
the timeline is seconds. Just want to remind you that
seconds.
as we go into chapter 25.
Less than a minute.
You leap behind a tree to accomplish your giraffe morph. Your
How
legs
is the tree gonna help?
your legs grow so rapidly that you crack your head on a branch.
Oh, concussion.
Your neck stretches. Your skin is patterned with tan and brown. With a clatter of hooves, you take off toward Marco's powerful strides. Giraffes are peaceful creatures. Patrolman Teeter is stunned to see one appear, but he doesn't go for his gun. He would never shoot a giraffe. You turn your back to the dog to give yourself greater kicking power. He launches himself at you, but he can only reach your leg. You shake him off. You pull back your leg, and wham! You knock Visser 3 into next week.
Poor pupper.
Flash! Onions on it, too? Mom asks you. She is stirring a
Was
pot
Giraffe
of
a good
tomato
morph?
sauce at the kitchen stove.
Did kicking Visser 3 reset the timeline?
She turns when you don't answer. Sweetie, do you want onions on the pizza? Sure, you say. Everything. But I have to go to Jake's for a minute. I forgot my homework. It's Saturday.
What?
Yeah, you say and run out. Ask him over for dinner, your mom yells as you hop on your bike.
She ships you guys.
You ride like the wind. Axe is only halfway through his licorice whip. You spill out your story. We were all there, Jake asks. And I knew I was in a second. Sorry, a rip? You nod. And when we went back in time, Marco and I both knew we were in the wrong time. Marco knew his mother was dead. Gone. Whatever. Jake looks at Axe. Does any of this make sense to you?
No.
Axe chews on the licorice and swallows.
It really doesn't.
No, except for the motive of Visser 3.
Yeah,
He manipulated the Sario-Rip to go back farther in time.
fine.
He knew it would happen,
Okay.
Jake asks. He was trying to kill his enemy's host before it became the host.
What?
Axe explains.
What?
You see, some hosts are better than others. Obviously, Visser 1 has found a host that has extraordinary abilities. I also guess that Visser 3 might have known you were aboard in some kind of morphs. That was a trap. Since he thinks you are
What?
Andalites, perhaps he thought he could send you back. That way, he would be prepared that first night. He would make sure to kill you, or else you would not be there at all.
What?
Alter the past, alter
But
the future.
I-
He was willing to take the risk. Jake groans. So I fell into another trap in the Amazon? Swell. I can't even be smart in someone
Swell.
else's Sario-Rip.
But that's not how Sario rips work.
But
No, this makes no sense.
it turned out well, Prince Jake, Axe points out. Visser 3 was stopped by the giraffe morph. Yes! Oh, it's so worth it. That is why the whole thing
I can't believe the giraffe.
never happened. You kicked him so hard. He went out, not
As everyone's going out, it's
Escape.
literally into next week.
escape velocity, out of one rip, out of a second rip.
Claire pointed out that a giraffe kick now canonically has the power of a spaceship explosion.
Go, everybody, go get a giraffe more right now.
I just have to read that again.
I'm sorry.
Everyone's very into swell as a
Jake, Axe points out, Visser 3 was stopped by the giraffe morph. That is why the whole thing never happened. He returned to the original time of the rip so that he wouldn't be stopped. The good news is that Marco's mother was not killed. So Visser 1 is still Visser 3's enemy, which is good for us. To have them fighting for power distracts Visser 3. But I don't get it, you say. If I was in Visser 3's rip, why do I remember it? And why did you and Jake remember some of it back in the Amazon? Axe thoughtfully braids a licorice ribbon, then bites off a piece. For sure. Is that Andalite language? Jake asks. No, it is a mouthful of licorice, Axe responds. The answer is, I do not know. My guess is that there can be breaks in the rip. Like this. He holds up a braid of licorice.
Oh,
Light shines through the holes.
No.
I was not paying attention the day Sario rips were taught, you finish. We know. Axe shrugs, showing off his... Someday we might figure it out. But you are alive. You saved Marco's mother. That is the important thing.
Good job, Nate.
We have lived to fight another day. Axe is right, Jake tells you. You have to take what you can get these days. Worry about the things you can do something about. You're alive, and so are we. You know he's right. You have to take the moment. You're safe. You may not have killed Visser 3, but you're back in your own time, alive.
Oh, man.
Jake puts his hand on your shoulder. Don't worry, there will still be more battles to fight. You grin.
Sorry.
But first, you say, there's pizza.
Oh, no.
You are the worst. Is that the
So,
end?
yeah, there's no congratulatory text. When you turn the page, you become poison arrow frogs and then die.
Oh, it doesn't say it's the end?
It does not say it's the end. And there is no, like, the end. There's no the end.
We
So,
got pizza. Congratulations, us.
we did
I
it.
guess you know it's the end because pizza.
Congratulations, Gray. You made
Yeah.
it through with only,
You
I
only
think,
died
2
twice.
deaths. And
My brain hurts.
So I just...
that was really terrible.
Visser 3's
I loved a lot of
choice
things
at the
about it,
end
though.
was so deeply flawed. Like, even if it made sense to, like, go back farther in the
Uh-huh.
past with this, like, new Sario rip he's making,
Sure.
they went back a year. She was
But-
already controlled and she was
No.
already dead.
But
And
killing...
why would you want to kill the host?
Right, killing her, even if it was, because it said she wasn't infested, killing her before she becomes infested doesn't help him that much.
No.
Because Visser,
No.
like,
You
Idris
need to
is
kill
still out
Mr.
there,
One,
right?
not the host. The host is helpful, but like
Yeah.
not the reason.
And also, she wasn't even a voluntary host, so it's
Right.
not like she's going to be helping much.
so,
So Gray,
Yeah.
you didn't get to make a lot of choices in this.
No,
But-
but I think we did well with the choices
Yes.
we made. You
What
guys,
would you have? Yeah.
the giraffe beat Visser 3 and fix the Sario rip.
You know. Yes.
Who wrote
Yes.
this?
I actually
Who
think
would write
that
this?
Apple Grant's editor wrote this.
Oh, really?
I do.
Then why is it?
She
it's-
wrote-
it's
she wrote-
dedicated for Tanya Alicia Martin, who morphed this idea into reality.
You should.
I think she was
Your
the editor.
morphing is bad
Either that
and
or
you
their
should
editor wrote
feel bad.
Alternamorphs too, but I don't remember.
Yeah, there's
That
nothing.
is-
There's no indication at the end.
Appalling.
Aaron points out that he died twice on the hyena canine giraffe choice when he read this 20 years ago. So it's great that the giraffe became a meme because that meme saved you.
Yes. So if you
Oh
had
my
been
God.
in this position, like
Uh-huh.
forget the crazy jungle stuff, but
Sure.
like if like what choices would you have made? I mean, you wouldn't have gone through the
I would
construction
have gone
site.
through the construction site. I think.
But let's just say you're such an off-roading freak
Sure.
that you had to.
I would have definitely gotten a hyena. That's a really good battle morph. Somebody
Yeah.
should get that. I'm going to add that to my list of
Okay.
battle
Nice.
morphs they should get. And been less annoying.
You would have actually read the books.
Yeah.
It's clear that you had not read the books.
Yeah, you needs to get their act together.
All right, one other question, which is there is a second Alternamorphs book. It is actually even wilder than this one.
What?
So
Wait.
what I want to hear from you is like which books you think that they're going to riff on in the second Alternamorphs, which we may have to subject you to.
Okay. Shoot. How about the one where the starfish one, where she gets split in two?
Love
Do
it.
you get split into
Uh,
annoying and not annoying?
yes, maybe.
Okay.
I hope so. And what other bonkers ones are there?
Wait, Claire wants to know, is you the same character in Alternamorphs 2, or is it you too? We also had some confirmation that from John that Tanya is Applegate's editor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Tanya.
And yeah, Aaron says.
Then why was
We
this
owe
so
her-
poorly edited?
We owe her a debt of gratitude though,
well, the
because
problem is that she wrote it, and she's,
she gave them license to do whatever
That's true. That's true.
Fair
wild
enough.
stuff they wanted
Yep.
in the
Yeah.
actual series. So
What's another good wild? Like I don't want to. Okay, so no, the morphing allergy one, that Rachel one rather than the splitting in two because that one was really funny
Okay.
with the Benny Hill soundtrack at the end.
Yes.
And maybe also, I'm trying to think of other like truly bananas ones. There are so many I
Helmicrons.
can't narrow them down. And the Helmicrons.
Oh.
Yes, I love the
That would be
Helmicrons.
I
so good.
definitely didn't read Alternamorphs 2, so I have no
Helmicrons.
knowledge of what
So
actually happens.
I definitely read it, but I don't own it. So I wonder if I read it like in the bookstore and then put it back.
As we want to do. In the
Yeah, we're gonna Alternamorphs 2
Yeah.
online because we definitely need the paper copy. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
fun
No,
going
it's
through
so
that. Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen the cover of these,
Should
it's
we
like super
hold it
Get
up?
it close.
shiny, but also there's a lion's face, which it doesn't make any sense because there's no lions, and it's made entirely of little A's, like the one behind me, except for a bit
Whoa.
on his face where it says "Join us," which is very creepy. Yeah, it's a cool cover, but it's weird.
Yeah. They just, they picked the coolest looking animal. That's like how the cover of Sir has.
Like, why
Alpha
didn't they
going.
do a giraffe or a
Alright.
hyena?
The giraffe would have been cool.
Giraffe would have been so cool.
They just know that lions are the coolest.
I
All
love
right.
the
So
giraffe.
improbably, we've been live for 2 hours at this point.
Great job, us.
Wow.
Exactly right. Well done. Thank you, everybody who joined us and gave me advice.
This
Thank
Helped
you
me get through
so
it.
much.
fun.
I can't-
Clearly, we're going to do this
I can't wait to
again.
go through and read all the comments that I
Yeah.
didn't get to see while I was reading.
So
No.
good. Can I read? Did we notice that there?
We'll check. We'll check. Let us know. People who know Animorphs, did anything get spoiled in the comments?
You can just
Let
read
us
them
know.
later.
Giraffe cover would have been a hint.
That's true.
Amazing.
They couldn't do that.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thanks
Yeah.
again for
This
Alternamorphs
was
too. At
so
some point.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you survived in the end. Despite your
Yay. Good
your
job,
several
Giraffe
deaths.
Morph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
And
the Animorphs.
Everyone was
several deaths.
actually so helpful most of it.
Yeah.
we appreciate
Frog was the
everyone.
only real. That was bad advice.
Bad advice.
I don't know, ferret.
I mean, they went with giraffe instead of ferret, so that was
All right.
good. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
See you next time.
Happy Saturday.